Hey, Brittany from the future. This is past you. Just wondering if you actually asked Adam whether the song Get Him Back by Olivia Rodrigo is about him or not. And I just want to let you know that whether or not you asked the question, I still am proud of you for everything you've accomplished. Find someone new.
What do you want to do?
We're going to see the Epstein files today, and that's exciting.
Okay, I feel like that's a crazy sentence.
Well, we are, and we're
going
so
to
excited.
see the Epstein
Yeah,
files
because there's
today.
like a pop-up in New York that our friend is like.
Yeah, where
doing
all the
some,
Epstein files,
our friend Kate
ones are
is doing this thing. Hot Girls for Zoran.
Hot Girls Organized.
Yeah, that's the one. Anyways, she is doing some pop-up thing, and I like chose my outfit specifically today because like I want Samira to take a picture of me with the Epstein files, being like.
I'm not doing that.
Me and my Epstein file.
I'm not doing that.
Me and my victim.
I'm not doing that.
You know the movie Me and My Victim?
I'm not freaking doing that. Well,
I'm gonna make so many Epstein jokes.
Okay, see,
I'm gonna like get some. I want you to take a reel of me.
I'm not doing that.
I'm like,
have Peter do that.
I'll ask him.
Peter
I'm sure
will
that
do
he
that.
would because Peter likes content.
I like content too, but I'm not taking a video of you with the fucking Epstein files.
Why?
What do you
mean? Like, why would you, like, we're going to an Epstein file pop-up and you don't want to fucking take a photo of me?
I'll take a photo of you, but I feel like you have this vision.
Yeah, my vision is to be like, he said
come
ETA
up with
150,
that.
I am so sorry.
Oh, so we didn't even have to fucking do the intro now. Not fret.
I don't know. He's really making me.
Brittany's saying things like not fret to Adam Faze.
I don't know. I'm so sorry. I only started typing it, but then I realized what I was doing wrong before I even sent it. So there's no need to worry about that at all.
But now I really don't.
Yeah. Today we're
interviewing Adam Faze.
I really don't mean to make this about Olivia Rodrigo. The
It's
internet
really
has
not
done that
about
enough.
Olivia
It is
Rodrigo.
really not.
The internet has really done that, and we don't mean.
I'm sorry, we can't not joke about it just once, at least right now. If this is the only time that we even acknowledge it,
in the room and we can't acknowledge it, and then it's like, oh, this is our one chance to acknowledge it.
so like we do have to at least get it off our chest now to like maintain
Just, like,
some
talk
sort of
about it.
journalistic integrity and ask the questions that you guys are really wanting us to ask.
Maintain some sort of joke about it all.
So yeah. Anyways, we're
having Adam Faze on. You might know him as
Adam Faze,
producer of Keep the Meter Running and Boy Room, and overall great guy.
Overall a great guy who we actually know through our friend Peter McIndoe. Shout out to Peter McIndoe.
We freaking
Samira
love that guy.
actually asked me for a sweatshirt this morning. Hey Peter,
I did.
if you're listening. Samira asked me for a sweatshirt this morning, and then I was like, "Do you want to wear Peter's sweatshirt?" And then
and
she
I
was
said,
like,
"No, we wear that too much," because I think that's true. But again, we don't mean to make this about Peter.
This episode is about Adam, and you'll find that out in no time. So.
We're going to find out a lot about him. We're going to find out if he's a Nepo baby.
I feel like people think that it's cool of me when I wear a skirt and then I put my legs up. Just like the way that I'm not afraid.
I don't think anyone really notices that.
No, I think people appreciate that aspect of my being.
Body.
But yeah, so we know Adam through our great friend Peter McIndoe, who did Birds Aren't Real, and the two of them sometimes I think work together on stuff or something.
They do things together, the two of them.
Guys like that, you can't really ever know what they're up to.
And I'm just really excited about this all.
I miss you.
Thanks.
Do you want to talk about it?
About me being missed?
Yeah.
I'm being missed. I know.
No. This
Yeah.
is having watched a few episodes of the show. I have some questions.
Okay, yeah, I would love to
One
hear.
of which is I need to be explained the situation.
Oh!
No, because like I was like half uncomfortable watching the episode, but then half.
Wait, which one?
Yeah.
With him? Oh my god!
Well,
Episode?
also he that then had.
Oh, got
I'm not
into
gonna
the
say.
lore.
I figured out the lore.
You figured out the lore.
You really?
Yeah.
I really think you're maybe the first person to figure out the lore
I
like
was
that.
I was
Yeah,
interested. But
yeah.
I want to know what the situation
Okay,
is.
well, it was totally platonic. Nothing was happening at all.
Other than that he had tried.
Yeah, well,
things.
it was
Right,
kind of
yeah.
like a joke, but not like. And then eventually, it wasn't a joke anymore.
Yeah.
And then
Is this
everything
before
fell
or after?
apart. This was in
During.
the.
No.
He gave like the. It was kind of like
It
a
was,
whole thing.
Like crazy.
A week later, it's over, and he's.
Next year.
So I know you've done this before, but you
No,
were
now we're
24
just getting into more lore. This is reverse lore
As
now.
you said that, I was like, well, I don't know if you're the best person.
No,
to
no,
ask you
I was
No,
23.
give us your
I was
reaction.
23.
No,
It's a
give
lot
it-
better.
23 is a
It's
lot better.
Yeah.
Way
People
better.
thought I was-
Would you do
No, absolutely not.
Exactly.
I'd never. No.
Yeah.
exactly? See, even he knows not to.
Even I know.
Yeah. Even he knows that's bad.
So yeah, thanks for asking about that. I'm really like impressed that
Yeah.
you figured
I'm
that
trying to think
out.
What else? I mean, the Wallows one was funny
yeah.
Thank you.
because I could just tell you guys were like
We were like
dying
trying not to have
inside
sex
the
with
entire
them.
time.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
I like took a picture of them like on the
Yeah.
like secretly, and then I like posted my close friends, and I was like, I'm trying so hard not to have sex with all of them
Yeah.
right now. So that was
It
kind
was
of
really
that was the vibe of that one.
I was like, if we had them in person, it would have been like, a whole
Yeah.
different thing.
I know.
It
I
would've-
wish we did.
I really wish we did. I think it would have been really fun.
Well, also, I just think, I mean, unfortunately, the one thing that sucks about like the group Zoom interview is like Zoom
Yeah.
is just so awkward,
It's
and like
so
Yeah.
they're
awkward.
talking over each other, and it's like, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you go,
yeah.
you say, I was gonna say the same thing as you, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
my god, I hate Zoom, I hate this,
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
cute, and
Yeah.
then. Well, I know the drill one was just funny because you guys were talking about Cole Sprouse, and I'm like, oh.
yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
And you know where we saw that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't get to talk to him though.
Okay, I couldn't tell from. It was a
Yeah.
friend of yours that talked to him.
Yes, or
Yes.
a friend
Or was
of
that even
Kate's.
was that even
A
that
friend of
night?
Kate's.
A friend of
Was that
Kate's
that
who
night?
went up and
Okay.
yes, it was that night.
Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, I got this role in a movie, and I was just like, why would you say that to him?
Yeah.
I also didn't really understand it in the moment that it was happening.
Yeah.
But,
But,
yeah.
yeah.
Did you guys have fun at that party?
I did have fun, and then we
We
went out to
in
the soccer field.
Did you see us? on the
Okay,
soccer
no,
field?
this
Yeah.
is so crazy. So we were in like the smoking section, which I didn't even know there was a smoking section on the at that floor. And I remember looking and seeing like 3 or 4 people on the soccer field, and I said to my friend, "I'm so jealous of those people. I wonder who those
No,
people
Peter
are."
told us that you texted him.
And then the next day, Peter's like, "Oh, we went on the soccer field." I was like, "That was you?"
We had a
It was
crazy
so
experience
wait.
on the
Also,
soccer field. It
yeah,
was
we haven't told
psychotic.
this story
We
on the
haven't told
podcast.
story.
But okay, just for context, we
Context.
were at the Keep the Meter Running party. Actually, party that Adam invited us to.
Yep.
But and there was a soccer field outside this big, beautiful building
And the
bar
like, the windows
hall.
were like you could see the
It's
soccer
crazy,
field.
and
It was-
and we kept noticing it, and we were like, we should just go there. And then so me, Peter, Samira, and Kate all went to a soccer field, and we sat in it, and we were sitting there. We were like just like kind of opening a portal in a way, like we were
Yeah.
playing this like question game where we just like
we
we're
were
asking each
talking
other
about,
questions.
like the things that have like changed our lives the most, like just like important things that have happened to us, and like, and I forget like what the actual thing we were talking about.
Peter was talking about how meeting us felt like he had traveled back in time
Yeah.
and met us, and we already had this like successful cultural
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
It was so
Wow.
sweet.
It was really
He is
sweet.
literally the sweetest person
And
in the
then
entire
as
world.
he was doing this, so all the lights go off like on the soccer field, and then like a minute or two later, a soccer, because we were joking about how we really wish there was a soccer ball so we could play soccer, and then a soccer
Soccer ball just rolls out into the middle of the
No,
field.
it
There's like
doesn't.
no people
it
or
doesn't.
anything
What are you
there.
talking about?
No, there
It
was
was-
a guy
there was
like
a
walking
guy
around the
walking
perimeter
around the
who
perimeter.
could have kicked it, but I
like,
didn't know
I
So
one saw
you're not
saw
joking.
it.
Like it wasn't like a wind, like it went an
No,
inch.
it
Like you're saying
literally
a
like had
ball, like
forcefully.
Pixar intro,
us.
ball
Yes,
comes
yes.
across.
And it just like landed in the middle. We were all like, "What the
it was
fuck?"
crazy.
And what our conclusion was that it was us. We time traveled probably back in time from the future to like signal to ourselves that we were like something
sure.
about the conversation was like important.
And you're in the
maybe.
place that you were meant to be.
Yes.
So that was
That's
our
beautiful.
keep the meter running.
So thanks for
party.
inviting us to
That's
that party.
that's
or
how you keep the meter
Never
running.
would have had
That's how
that.
you keep the
Never
meter
would have had
I'm
that.
obsessed with your cat just cleaning her feet.
Yeah, she
That's
she
fun.
normally
Easy.
hangs out. It's actually a really good sign that she's hanging out because if she doesn't like the guests, she doesn't hang out.
I love
She-
cats,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
Then she'll go into the room.
But-
She looks crazy.
So you
one
like
foot
the
out.
episodes though.
Oh yeah, of course.
Cool.
Oh, I also just think it's really cool and interesting is like, you know, you guys have been doing this for 2 years now, which is really impressive. First of all, because
Oh,
like
thank you.
everyone stops doing a podcast over like 7
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah.
The second thing is, you guys do such an interesting balance of, like, the intros being so personal in a way that I feel like if you guys keep doing this for years, like we're going to watch you guys grow up through the context of you interviewing these people that matter to you while you were growing up.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
like,
really
you're
sweet.
seeing you guys move to New York and you're talking. It's like, it's just really interesting. I've never really seen that before. And maybe it's just that I don't really listen to that many podcasts, but like, it's so... It almost feels like it's like the modern day Girls. Like I'm watching like a scripted show, but it's
Don't
not
say that
scripted.
shit to
No,
me.
but it feels like, of course the 2026 Girls would be like a podcast, but it's like reality television too. I don't know. It's unintentional because you guys it's just your real life, but that's the way that I was seeing it last night.
No,
Well,
I
it
really
is
appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. It is interesting because we talk about this because we don't really do, like we did solo episodes when we started the podcast, but we don't really do them anymore. And I feel like we don't really talk about our personal lives like in the episodes because they're all guest based. But then like
But in the beginning,
the intro, it's
yeah.
like these 2 minutes of us just like talking about our personal lives.
Yeah.
And then that just like collects over like episodes and episodes. That is really interesting.
Well, then one thing I thought was interesting, Ivy made such a great point, which she was like, "Oh, you guys have so quickly like found your people in New York," which is crazy because I'm like, I looked at Instagram and it was like we have like 90 mutual friends. Like,
Yeah.
that is crazy,
Yeah.
especially knowing you guys aren't from New York. And so I'm curious, like, was it just as a result of interviewing some of these people, and then when you came to New York, like they invited you to a party or something, and then you would just meet more people?
Yeah, it was
Yeah, I
mainly the
think
podcast.
mainly the
Like,
podcast.
also, I did have some like internet friends, but no one really in I think these circles exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel like we had like we had like a friend from Philly who kind of like knew a bunch of people in New York, so he sort of was like our one entry point, and then we like interviewed I feel like one person who kind of like brought us into like people, and then it just kind of like I feel like snowballed from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because like, yeah, I feel like we tried really, really hard like to kind of insert ourselves into Philadelphia when we were living there. So it like felt like a little gift when we came here where it was like, oh, okay, we can like pick up where we left off and like
It felt
not
very
have to
natural.
try as hard, if that makes sense. But yeah.
And what do your parents think?
I like how this has turned into you interviewing.
I'm just
us.
curious. I look, as someone who was like a young person doing a lot of this stuff, like I know
Yeah.
what it's like.
No,
so I'm
thank you. I
curious.
appreciate the consideration so
Yeah.
much. My mom watches every episode if you want to say hi to her right now.
Hi,
does.
Mom.
Yeah.
And she comments on what episodes she thinks are funny and which ones she likes the most.
And which guys she thinks
Which
that we
guys
should
she
date.
thinks
Well, also
Very-
there was an episode where I can't remember. Maybe we were talking about, but you were talking with some guy, and then you were like, "I'm joking, Mom.
yeah.
I'm not actually."
I was like,
Yeah.
thanks for clarifying that for your mom.
Yeah, because
you know
she
she's
like,
gonna
if
take
I
it
mention a
seriously.
guy in an episode, she's like, well, why don't you date him?
Yeah, of
yeah.
Yeah, she's really sweet.
But actually, so what do they think about you guys being in New York and like the pod and?
My mom's very supportive.
Your mom's
My
very
dad does
supportive.
not know what's going on at all. He
Yeah.
sucks, but
I feel like my dad also isn't really like around, but my mom, I feel like she like doesn't really understand it completely, but she's like supportive of it. She like really likes reels. She's always telling me that she wants to like start making reels.
that's
God.
cute.
And I'm like, I don't like know what you want me to do with that, but you
Yeah.
should make reels.
And
Is
my
your
dad
dad
only
aware?
recently became a Reels person.
Is your dad aware of the podcast?
I don't talk to him, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay, cool. So we're kind of in the same boat with that's
Yeah.
like supportive mom. Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
your parents supportive of what you're doing? Like, do they know? Are they
Especially since
aware
you
of it?
started,
Like,
so young.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, now they're the most supportive people on earth. I think like any parents when I was younger, we're not like a film family, entertainment family. So the fact that I didn't want to go to college or I dropped out of community college and was like very passionate about like, I'm going to work in entertainment. Like it's going to work. There's not going to be a plan B. Like, why would I have a plan B? That, naturally was terrifying to them. So as a
Yeah.
kid, I hated them. And I
Yeah.
had such an awful relationship. Like I would go so long without talking to them. Living at their house, I would like intentionally leave in the morning before they would wake up and come back after, like, just like to avoid any contact whatsoever. And I think now looking back as an adult, you can always, hindsight's 20/20, and you can always fault your parents for doing things that they're not aware of how much it impacts you as a young person. I don't think anyone ever realizes just like how fragile and vulnerable like young brains are.
yeah.
And so while I still could maybe look back and be like, oh, I wouldn't have done it that way, it's like it also was the first time they were doing it too. They
Yeah.
did not understand and they were just scared. So I just think getting older, you have a little bit more perspective on like what their attitude is.
Yeah. Did they like, I'm wondering about, because, okay, so you have such an interesting background. I have been like researching for
I
the
told
past few
Peter, I was
days.
like, it's going to be like a Nardwar episode.
No, because I was asking Peter about you, and he sent me the New York Times article of you like setting up your own film fest in your high school, which I thought was so interesting. And I was wondering like how aware like were your parents aware that you were doing that, or were you kind of just like being one of those like kind of sneaky kids where you're just like doing the thing you wanted to? Because I know that you were kind of going also behind like the school's back a little bit to do it.
I remember when that article came out, the first thing my dad said to me was, "Are you doing your homework?" And it was like such a classic Middle Eastern father thing. But I can distinctly remember, I mean, the weirdest thing was like when I started high school, I was always an entertainment person. But when I started high school, I was going through a huge like Apple fandom thing. I was obsessed with Apple, like macrumors.com, 9to5mac.com, watching every keynote, knowing all the rumors, reading patentlyapple.com and knowing what patents they had filed that week. Like just weird. And
no, I was like that too. Like not with as intensely, but the like whenever they would have like the keynote. The keynote, I would be like, oh my god, the new things that are coming out. It was so exciting.
It's amazing. And I thought I wanted to like be a programmer at that point. But then I think at some point, like end of sophomore year, I want to say that like the Hollywood dream came back, and I kind of was like, what am I doing? I'm not gonna be a fucking computer science engineer. And so then junior year, I remember it was the first time that we had like laptops in high school, and like you're just like obviously no one's paying attention in class the entire time. And I remember at that point almost giving up on school, like, cause I knew that if I didn't do like focus at all, I would still get like B's. So I was just sort of like, okay, that's fine enough with me. And I then spent all day, every single day in class, just refreshing Deadline Hollywood, Hollywood Reporter, and Variety. And I would read it front to back. And then if there was ever a name that I didn't know, like an executive or a writer or a director, I would go on IMDb and just research like everything they'd ever worked on. Wow. And so like I had this weird encyclopedic knowledge of Hollywood at that point, just out of obsession. And so then like midway through junior year is when I started thinking like, okay, I want to go to, if I'm going to go to college, it's for film school. But I don't have, what am I going to get into film school for? Like USC Film School is still like one of the hardest schools to get into. It's so hard. And so then that's when I started thinking like, well, I'm screwed because there's zero film program at the school. So I wonder if I like make a film festival here. And the lucky thing was like my high school was the oldest high school in California. And it was shocking that this school that's in LA weirdly had zero film program whatsoever. And so it was their 150th anniversary as a school when I was throwing this original festival. And I really used that because like the school had told me, we don't have budget for this. We're not going to help you with this. And I just started sending out like press releases out on behalf of the school with like the school letterhead. And it was like Loyola High School is proud to announce their 150th anniversary like film festival. And I sent it to every high school in the country, every journalist in Hollywood, and one thing after another like through this festival that I'm shocked it did not get expelled for throwing. Again, was sending like official school letterhead out on. And I remember when
that's so awesome.
I was like when the New York Times thing happened, I remember the school being like, who, like, when have you been doing this?
Did you get into any sort of trouble for it? Was there anything?
There was, I think at that point it was a little like late.
Like late, yeah.
I will say like they were definitely not happy with this article because it kind of threw them under the bus a little bit. It wasn't really from my mouth. I think that had come a little bit from like a teacher that was helping me and like some of the judges that I had at the festival, but like it definitely didn't portray them in the best light.
Wait, so they didn't know what was going on until that article? That is like that's genuinely awesome. Like insane that you pulled that off. Like,
and I remember like that day. Oh, it was my first time really realizing like the power of like what traditional press does, because I remember like right before the article was coming out, I thought to myself, okay, this is the only, like this might be my only time that Hollywood even knows who I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the reporter if he can mention I'm looking for a summer internship. And so like the last line of the article ended up being this like line about me asking if he could put in a line about me having a summer internship. And I remember the next day my school got like 50 phone calls from production companies being like, we'd love to offer Adam an internship. So it's the first time realizing like, oh, there's like a real power in this. And if you can figure out just sort of like if when you have the opportunity to get a message out, like knowing what you want it to be. And I don't know, it was a really valuable thing to learn at 16.
You're an insane person.
I know.
Like that's genuinely insane. And I think it takes like a really specific type of person to like be able to just like even get in the position to do something like that. Yeah. So that's just crazy. I was like so like flabbergasted by it when I was like reading about it. And it's also funny because like I was talking to Peter about this, that like a lot of people think you're a Nepo baby. And like
Great
you
compliment,
have
by the
like so many Nepo baby allegations, which I think is hilarious because like, no, you really did just like work your way in, which makes a lot of sense to me because I feel like a lot of kids just have this interesting like obsession with like celebrity and Hollywood and stuff, especially like through the traditional lens of like Entertainment Tonight or something, because my parents used to always have that on the TV. And like that was to me my like window into like what that world was like. And like there was no other like touching that for me as a kid.
No, and for me, I lived in LA. Like it was all I saw, except I went to like an all-boy Catholic high school. Not really anything going on there. I went to a really Christian elementary school. But like I had an annual pass to Universal Studios, and that studio tour was my favorite thing on planet Earth. And you hear these stories of like Spielberg back on the tram back in the day, like hiding in the bathroom so you can then like explore the back lot. And I wanted to be in Hollywood. I just loved Hollywood and the industry, and I loved LA. Like, I'm shocked that I live in New York. I never thought I would leave LA.
Yeah.
Was it just your proximity to like Hollywood and everything that made you obsessed with it? Like what pushed you?
I think it was that, and then I just loved movies.
Yeah.
From such a young age, and I can remember being in elementary school, and like my brother is 4 years older than me, and so he was in high school at the time, and I remember my principal, who knew my brother well, being like, "Oh, does your brother know where he's going to go to college yet?" And I remember saying to him, I must have been in like 6th grade. I remember saying like, "Oh, I don't know where he's going to go, but I'm going to go to USC Film School." Like I just like always was so obsessed with wanting to be in the industry. So I don't know. Like I couldn't tell you if there was like an inciting incident of like when that started, but it's a lifelong obsession.
Yeah. Well, just kind of like in general, aside from that, I'm curious also just like what was important to you growing up, especially like in LA, like obviously like movies and celebrities and that whole culture, but just like, were there other like pockets of the internet that you were really obsessed with, or like even outside of the internet, what kind of shaped you?
I mean, like early on, like of course, early days YouTube, like of course I had a YouTube account, ATown528. And, at that point, I remember the way that I would make videos was like we had just gotten an iMac, and it was like the white iMac with like I think it was probably the first one that had a webcam in it. And because that was the only camera we had, I would literally unplug it and like put it in different rooms to basically as my camera. And at the time it was like mostly lip sync videos and then like God knows what else. But I think at that point it was like no one had views on YouTube. Like okay, maybe Charlie Bit Your Finger, but everyone had 50 views, and it was like you were just doing it for the fun of it. Like I think we'll get back to this, I'm sure, but like the thing that makes me so sad about YouTube and all these platforms is like there's such an obsession about optimization and like the thumbnail and the title and how to get the most views, and it's like it's all the same, and like everyone has removed any sense of personality or individuality just because it's like the goal now is virality and not just like having made the thing. And it just feels like at that age it was such an innocence of like we're just making videos, like stupid sleepover videos, and it's so fun, and it was like such a coming of age. And then I would watch movies, I'd be given like director's books at Christmas, and I would say like high school was when I became like super moody, pretentious film bro, of just like being obsessed with Stanley Kubrick because there was an exhibit at LACMA, and like going and seeing every movie on film at the Aero Theater, and like watching Donnie Darko and being like, this is me. But it was literally filmed at my high school, so I was like, this is literally me.
It was filmed at
oh
my
wow,
high school.
That's really crazy.
So I think it just became, I did theater growing up, and then I stopped it in high school because I didn't want to get more bullied. But like, I think it was like how I found myself was just like in movies.
That's really interesting also, like because just like what you were saying about YouTube, like that was just the golden age, and I like miss so much just like I don't know, like typing into like your YouTube search browser to actually find something, and like it had nothing to do with like it didn't have anything to do with people trying to like reach people. It was literally just like I remember typing in like American Girl doll, I don't know, when people like what is it called, like role play with them or whatever,
typing in like something you're interested in, and then just like seeing a video with like 100 views and just clicking on it.
Which is just like such a different world. Like the Fred era, and like what else was even popular at that time? Like
Annoying Orange.
Yes,
Annoying
and like
Shoes.
the duck video. Yeah, shoes. The like
Banger.
the duck at the lemonade stand
Yep.
video.
I was a big POV kid for
Yeah.
roller coaster rides.
Yeah,
Big
those were
POV.
classic.
Because I was only allowed to go to
Classics are
Disneyland once a year too. So like the way that I would make up for that is by watching POVs.
Yeah.
And then also I was obsessed with roller coasters, but terrified of them and wouldn't go on them. But again, I would watch. I knew every stat about every single roller coaster, including like the 0 to 60 speed and the height and like what the fastest roller coasters in the world were. But then I would just watch them on YouTube. So like again, like I really feel lucky. Like I loved that internet so much. And I can remember the first time like some of the videos we made getting some views. Like my brother made a video that was like a slideshow RIP Heath Ledger. And like that got 25,000 views and was like, oh my God, like we're going to be the biggest. And then
that was also kind of like a win for the people when that would happen in this
Oh,
weird
huge
way.
win.
Like it didn't even have anything to do with like really like you or what you made. Yeah.
And then I remember like, again, during the Apple obsession, this was like in middle school, I had a YouTube account called Apple Promos and I would make like fake Apple ads. And this one was like, it was the first iPhone that had Verizon instead of just AT&T. And they had an ad that was called 2 is better than 1. And everyone hated AT&T. So I made a joke video called 1 is better than the other. And it was like every time the AT&T phone showed up, it would like crash and like break and not work. And like the service with no reception, whatever. And I can remember, again, first time ever like seeding things to journalists too, because I remember I would send it to all the Apple rumor pages being like, there's this video on YouTube that you should see, and it's like obviously my video, but that got like 100,000 views in a few days, and I remember just being like, whoa, like, it was it was just cool.
And it's just like that was a service to the community, which is really funny. I really miss that energy.
I did too.
It
was there's nothing darker right now in my mind than like the Maryland foodie boys, and it's like, by the way, so sweet, so cute, like keep doing it, but then it's like, oh, it goes viral on everyone's Reels feed. Mr. Beast shows up the next day, then Reese's Pieces does a brand deal, and it's like, we live in
it's like they're all lining up at like the prison store and they're like,
we live in hell.
Yeah. Okay, I want to like get into like all of that, and also just like your thoughts on like everything, like with short form content, everything you've done, but kind of like to go back, I do want to hear about kind of just like your media, like how you got to the place you are now after you were 17 and through the film festival. And then I know you said that you like went to community college and then dropped out. So can you give kind of just like a timeline of what that looked like after the whole thing happened? So many
chapters. I literally feel like I've lived so many lives. Have you guys ever seen Catch Me If You Can?
Yes.
Yeah. I literally feel like that was my life. Like it was just so many like half fake it till you make it, half just like different storylines, but
they all have like the same like through line
for sure,
which is really interesting.
And also it's like it makes total sense. I mean, even not like totally hearing the entire just like evolution, it's like every kid that like grew up being like basically like inadvertently a kind of digital marketer, it like makes so much sense that like you're in the position you're in now, or we're in the position we're in now.
Because I think a big part of it is like always using the resources that were around you to like try to keep moving forward. And so like I remember when I was graduating high school, podcasts were becoming a really big thing. Like Mark Maron had just interviewed Obama. Serial is the #1 podcast on earth. People are having listen parties for Serial, and like Gimlet just started, and they had their podcast startup. Like there was a movement that was happening. And so a friend of mine who was a little older was like, hey, you love talking to people in Hollywood. Why don't you just start a podcast where you like talk to people in Hollywood and ask for their advice? And I was like, that's a fucking amazing idea. Sony Pictures had just been hacked by North Korea for making the movie The Interview.
Oh my God,
and everyone from Sony Pictures emails were public. And so you could just go on wikileaks.com and type in any person you wanted to meet, executives, producers, directors, actors, whatever, and chances are you would find their email. And most, besides like George Clooney, did not change their emails. And so I was like, podcast, way to find guests. And I would email all these people. And I would just be like, I'm 17 years old. I have this podcast. Can I come interview you? And like, sure, every now and then you get like a Guillermo del Toro who's like, how do you get my email? Please delete this. But like, keep going, but please delete my email. But I ended up having people like Jay Leno and this guy, John Lesher, who had just won the Oscar for producing Birdman, and this director, John Lee Hancock, who had done The Founder, the McDonald's movie, and like all these, the Duplass brothers, like really cool era of filmmakers. And I would just ask for like really brutal, honest advice about like what I should be doing. I would never listen to it. And looking back, I'm like, they were so right. But I did that for a minute. that actually did decently well and it opened a lot of doors and gave me some internships. I remember I sent an email to someone at Forbes being like, do you guys want to write about this? And they're like, no, but we have this basically like,
you guys want to write about
like
this?
Definitely not. But we have this like sweatshop labor adjacent like writing program for like writing like slop articles on the internet for Forbes.com, which is not Forbes. And I was like, and they were like, do you want to do it for like $300 a month and write like 10 articles? And I'm like, yes, that sounds amazing.
Like,
Please, that is all I've ever wanted to do.
And so what I would do though is like I realized that if I applied for a press pass at like a film festival like Sundance, they would just see Forbes and be like, press pass.
It's so crazy what just literally like a name does. It's so insane.
So then I was 18 years old going to Sundance Film Festival, going to the Cannes Film Festival as a reporter for Forbes, not a reporter for Forbes. And I would remember like, especially in Sundance, which is really strict with like fake IDs and that sort of thing, I would then see all the parties that were happening for the big movie. And I would email the publicist being like, hey, I forgot like my wallet's on the plane. I don't know. And they're like, Forbes writer, we need him at the party. So then I would get like escorted into all these parties at 18
oh my
at
God.
film festivals. And then at the party, I would tell everyone like, I'm 18 years old. And they'd be like, that's so fucking sick, whatever. So at some point I dropped out of school. I couldn't really tell my parents that. So I was like pretending to go to school and not going to school. And I was like interning for producers. And then it was just a few years of like wearing every shitty hat on music video sets, like PA to AD, and like club promoting at night to make money because no one else will pay you. And like it was a decent way of making a lot of relationships. And you know, it was cool. Like you have like a table at the cool place that everyone's trying to get into and you're getting paid to be there. I really think I learned a lot about producing by like being a promoter at 19 years old and 20 years old. And then, I mean, it just keeps going. It's just, there's like, you know what I mean? It just, it was just so many. I feel like what's weirdest about looking at that New York Times article at 16 is I feel like I've been on a never-ending like race since then. And only now do I kind of feel this like, okay, kind of a new chapter, you know? But otherwise it feels like there was never a break for 12 years.
I completely like, I relate to that a lot. Just like I feel like how I've navigated through things, like in terms of like starting the podcast and like what came before that. But I did want to ask you like, in terms of like kind of the seed that like, I don't know, because I feel like when someone is like that, there's like a seed in their brain there where they're like, I have to do this. And if they don't do it, they're gonna die. And I'm wondering like for you, like what the psychology of that was, because I feel like for me as a kid, it was like, oh, I have to get out of this place. Like, and I don't know how to get to this place that I see over here, but this is just the place I see. And so it's almost just like, okay, like I have to do whatever I can to like, and you don't even actually really know what the place is, but you still like do it. And I'm wondering like how you thought about that or like how that materialized.
I mean, again, like I look now with a little bit of confusion, like, cause like I can pull up emails from when I was 17 years old that I'm writing to the head of HBO and I'm like, boy, do I got a pitch for you. Like, you're going to win an Emmy if you take my show. And I'm like, where'd you come from? Like literally, who are you? And I do really relate to that though. Like, I think what's interesting about LA is it's just so many suburbs. And like my dad was a mortgage loan officer. My mom is a realtor. Like all I wanted was to like be in Hollywood. Like my best friend, Cameron Roberts, who I've been best friends with since I was 6 months old. He always wanted to be an actor. I always wanted to be a producer. He has his big break coming up next month. He's the lead actor of the new Scary Movie 6. We ought to go see it.
Oh, that's awesome.
But like, I remember when it would be Oscar season, like the Hollywood Reporter would have the party roundup of all the Oscar parties. And we would just go and try to sneak into these parties at like 15, 16 years old. Like it was so innate. And I again, like I couldn't really tell you where it came from, but I do relate to the, like, I got to get out of here. Even though I lived in LA, it was like, there's so many different LAs. And the only thing I can say now as an older person, especially to anyone listening to this, is like, I resented my parents so much growing up for the fact that we were not a Hollywood family. And like that they couldn't help me and there was no relationships. They didn't know anything about my business. And like now looking back, I'm like, thank God. First of all, I got to be my passion. Second of all, like a lot of my friends who grew up with Hollywood parents had a lot more problems in their lives as a result of their parents being like not that present or not the best parents. So I almost think I had the best of both worlds because like I could see it. It was close. It didn't feel like it was that far away. It just felt like I had no choice but to not go to school and to throw myself in every single room. And the only thing I can say is like I remember, you know, 18, 19, 20 years old, I'm like going to Sunset Tower on Sunset and I'm like making friends with the maitre d' Dimitri and like spending money on a credit card that I have no money, and I'm just putting this on a credit card because I like want to build a relationship with Sunset Tower. Because it's like you go to the smoking section and it's a bunch of like studio execs, and then they'd be like, what does your family do? You know? And then that's when you're like, maybe I don't look like I place here. But there was never a choice. It was just, I had to.
Yeah. It is also like so interesting to me, like someone growing up there and being so enmeshed, but like not connected to it, because like I went to LA once when I was a kid. I was 16. It's my 16th birthday, and I got it instead of a birthday party. And I went to VidCon, and my parents took me, and I remember like trying to sneak into the VidCon parties and being so like, oh my God, like this is like what people have access to. Like I like literally was so jealous of kids who like grew up in LA and just like could be close to culture, because it was like, oh, the people who I knew from the internet were like describing their school experiences even. And like everything seemed similar to like how I interacted with people on Twitter. I was like, oh my God, everyone here is aware. Yeah. But also like they can literally just like go and meet this person and have access to like all of this stuff.
But what's so strange is I think LA is searching for its soul right now, because you have a city that was literally created for Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it's what everyone comes to LA for. It's the idea of Hollywood. And what's changed so quickly, like so quickly that no one in the industry had time to react to it, is that memory of LA is not Hollywood. But that now is the only business that's really left. Like, that's not to say, like, look, movies make billions of dollars a year, but no, Hollywood is not powerful. There's a reason why these studios are buying each other. Like it's a dying space, and there's a lot of there's a lot of these companies sort of just joining teams because like there's nothing else they can do. But what's interesting is like you could say that even when I was growing up, like Hollywood was on its way there. When I became a adult teenager in being in LA, my version of Hollywood was like, because of Instagram, there was the generation of Nepo kids, right? Like there's always been Nepo in Hollywood, but it was the first like Nepo kid was not really even a term, I feel like, until Instagram influencers.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is like those Nepo kids that had a following on Instagram, they still represented a tie to Hollywood, because it was like, oh, well, they're the child of Johnny Depp. They're the child of Bob Dylan. They're the child. Like it was like there was something there. And that really quickly just got replaced during COVID, because all of a sudden you had a brand new class of creators. Going into COVID, David Dobrik, biggest. Vlog Squad became
fucking crazy fucking time.
Crazy times. And by the way, I mean, I watched every single video, and like
same.
That all of a sudden became the party. Like everyone wanted to go to the David Dobrik party, and then he's going to Saddle Ranch. And then COVID happens, TikTok houses in LA, them now all they're the only parties that are happening in LA are the TikTok houses. And you come out of COVID 5 years later, industry doesn't really exist as much as it used to. Consumption habits have completely changed, mostly because no one could compete with the output of content coming from creators, whereas like Hollywood had to shut down and stop making content. So habits changed. And now when you go back to LA 2026, like you go to the cool party in LA now, there's not a single actor. There's not a single anyone from Hollywood. It is just live streamers. It's creators. It's influencers. Maybe some OnlyFans people.
Hence we are living in health.
And I know. It's just weird, 'cause I remember going back recently and just being like, this changed so quickly. Yeah. And it really was COVID.
Yeah. I'm curious then, like, because I know that you said that you never really saw yourself being in New York, that you always kind of thought you'd be in LA. So, like, because I know you've also spoken about how New York is kind of like the place right now for short form content. So I'm curious about like that and what you think kind of like the difference between LA and New York is in that, and what draws people to New York. Because also a show like Keep the Meter Running is obviously like very New York centric, and that can only really take place in a city like New York.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could not take place in LA. And by the way, like I will defend real LA to its core. I fucking love LA. I'm long LA. I will never call myself a New Yorker. Also because I have respect for that word. Like I'm an Angelino. And I do think I will live back there at some point. Do I think like a show like Keep the Meter Running would just be impossible there? Like, what do you know? And also like I think it's funny, like you look at the man on the street genre, like that's really hard in LA too, because like there's no one on the street. Like it's like everyone's just driving around. So I don't know. I think part of it in New York is like there is very much still a culture of people that are trying to impress each other offline. And I think like when I'm when I showed Peter the first episodes of Keep the Muted Running, it was probably the most terrifying experience of my life because like I care so much about what his opinion is, way more than I care about whatever algorithm internet says it is. But I think that there's so much of that still here where it's like all the comedians want to impress each other, all the filmmakers want to impress each other. Like we do have our own world here, and I don't think like I think in LA like whatever version that still exists there is still feels very climbing over each other to get the last helicopter out of Saigon. And it's like everyone wants their Deadline Hollywood article about like where they have a project in development. And it just feels like there's still a very indie spirit here to its core where people are just like, let's just make things and then we'll figure out what to do with it. There's not a lot of making things in LA right now.
No, that's really interesting. I feel like because I went to LA for the first time recently, and it was like so crazy, just like the difference between New York and LA, and even like seeing how people interacted and stuff. And it is like just like a much more like isolated experience in LA, even though it is like obviously like I think just like the fact that everything's so spaced out and you have to like drive everywhere. But yeah, it was really interesting.
It's scary. I mean, the fires didn't help. And again, I just think it's a city that's missing its soul right now, because I think what people don't think about Hollywood, they think about like, oh, why do I care about rich people? And it's like, no, you're talking about 5,000 people that work on one movie, 5,000 jobs, which used to be in the US, at least used to be in LA. And the actors and directors are still making a fuck ton of money, most of them, the biggest ones. But those below the line workers have no work. You know, maybe now they're working on micro dramas, which again, not even gonna shit on because at least it's a job. But like what people don't think about is like those people get haircuts and buy clothes and go to restaurants, go to bars. And like when you take their money away, the entire neighborhood falls apart. And so there's just nothing but like for lease sign at a time that housing's still never been more expensive because there's just not enough housing there. So the problem is it's a perfect situation now where you have someone like Spencer Pratt running for mayor who almost is guaranteed to become the mayor of Los Angeles because it's in such shambles and you don't really have a political class that's willing to accept and admit that it's in shambles because that makes them look bad. And so of course you're going to have a MAGA reality star become the mayor. It's sort of like you can't really blame anyone but the people that allowed it to be like this in the first place. No,
I do love LA at the end of the day. Even when I was there, I was like, I feel like this is where I meant to end up, because I just like grew up like reading Eve Babbitt's and Joan Didion and just like loving them so much and being like, I think I meant to be in LA.
By the way, I mean, it's fucking gorgeous.
It's
like
beautiful.
There's
like,
literally nothing like driving down the overpass, like going on PCH and you're just like, you can live here. Like it's unbelievable. I think what would make me move back to LA is like taking our entire community and be like, we're all going. Because I have some of my best friends are still in LA, a lot of whom left. And there's a lot of that culture that in our world that does not interest me in LA right now. So I think I would be so depressed to leave anybody that's here right now. And it would have to be like a group.
This is exactly how I like respond when people are like, I want to just move to like upstate or something. I'm like, well, we could like all just like do that if we all do it together and like everyone comes, because I like genuinely can't imagine like myself just like kind of up and going somewhere totally alone. Not in the sense where I like about like community formation, because like I'm sure I could find a community, but like this specific one is so special. And like I feel very lucky to like, I'm so glad that I moved here.
And I mean, it makes me emotional. Like anytime I talk about this community to people, especially to people in LA that are like older friends or mentors, whatever, like when they kind of ask this question, like, why are you there? And I talk about the people and I talk about our world, and I literally every single time I tear up, and it's like greatest pitch of all time, but at the same time I'm like, it's real. Like it's genuinely the way that I feel, and I'm excited for all of us to kind of figure out. I think the different version of myself than maybe the version of myself 3 years ago is I'm so not caring about like the optimization, the like how do you make it viral, or like it's so meaningless, and there's zero life fulfillment that comes out of it. Like, by the way, it's awesome. Virality is so fucking amazing. What an amazing drug, but it's a drug. And I only think that it's possible for us to like shift the actual culture of the world that we live in by resisting it completely, still being on those platforms, but resisting it completely. Because I think when everyone is optimized, no one is optimized. When everyone's talking loudly, you whisper to get their attention. Like, I just think that I see this moment in time that's like pretty close. That's like when good quality shit that goes against every rule in the book of what people think needs to be on these platforms works. All of a sudden, I feel like there has to be a gold rush on the other side of everyone just being like, well, now we got to all compete with each other to make the best thing. And that's been missing.
Yeah, I've definitely like seen, like, even just like TikTok, I feel like made me so depressed when I first got on the platform, because we were talking about this in our last episode with Zane Kine, but we were just saying how like TikTok isn't like, it's not localized because like you're not really interacting with a community on there. And then in turn, like the virality on there is just like a very weird thing, because I see it as like a barrier to entry. I'm like, you kind of actually need to go viral on like TikTok now to then be able to do other things that are really like important to you. And it's interesting. Like, it's just like set up maybe just like another, I don't know, like goalpost, like instead of like what we were dealing with like pre all of that.
Well, and I also think that I have a lot of thoughts on like algorithmic media in general, and I think it's totally destroying the entire planet and we have to kill it. But I think that there has to at some point be, from all of us that, I mean, I'm not going to speak for you guys, but as someone who does definitely struggle with addiction on these platforms, I'm like not being able to get off and just on way too late in the night so often. Like, I think there has to come a moment of like this push against the algorithm and this push against just endless scroll. And instead, like, recommendation layers and like modern day critics of our generation that are talking about the things that are we are making and telling other people like, no, you need to go watch this. Don't look at, I know that $1 cheeseburger versus $1 million cheeseburger radio looks really tempting, but like you should actually go watch this instead. And I think, I don't know when that happens, but I just think rarely do I feel satisfied anymore just being on one of these platforms and watching what they're telling me to watch.
Well, it's interesting too what you were saying about virality being a barrier to entry, because also it's not even like a sustainable model once you get to that point, which is interesting, because it's like, okay, like you go viral and then what? Like that's not going to amount to anything a lot of the time.
Well, and again, like everyone's viral. You know?
Exactly.
Everyone has followers, and like what does that actually mean? And with short form specifically, you're not in control of who watches your content. Like it does just decide one day, like, hey, we're good. Like we don't need to keep pushing this anymore. You don't own that audience. You have no way of reaching that audience. Maybe they recognize you, but that's almost a curse too, because now you're famous and you need to get a job. And now everyone's like, oh, aren't you the guy? Like almost worse than never having made anything. So I think that's been my own interest in push into the long form, is just like wanting to have a genuine knowing what my audience actually is. That's like wanting to tune into an episode of something. And also I just think at the end of the day, the scary part of short form is like, even if you make the most brilliant moving video and a feed of 200 videos that you're watching in a session, you're not moving anyone. You're not doing, it's not actually going to change anything. Like maybe sometimes we've had like, even just politically, me and Peter have done some stuff that has like moved the needle a little bit, but the problem is the platform. Like the problem is the consumption of 200 videos. And it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's so cool about like a show like Keep the Meter Running and it being on YouTube, because then like the comments like are people being like, oh, this is actually like moving me and this is genuinely doing something. In the comment,
like I'm like just crying all the time. I tear up a lot reading the comments because it's just like,
no, I was like,
it's making connection and you know, we might have gotten some comments like that in the short form version before, but like it's a 1.5-minute long video. How much could we have actually moved you?
Yeah.
And it's even the weird thing for me is like my friends sending me a photo of them. You sent a photo of watching on your TV, you know, and I'm like, it's cool that people are listening to like watching it on a TV, but like, it's just, it's the worst part about short form is that my pride in creating only ever came from something being viral. It doesn't matter how good a video was. If it got 10,000 views, I wanted to kill myself. It was the worst thing. I'm the worst person. I'll never make anything good. That was how I would think. And what was so different about making Keep the Meter Running for the first time as a long form show is that I was prouder of having made this thing more than anything in my entire life before we had ever pressed publish. Yeah. And that's a totally new feeling for me.
Yeah. That's awesome to unwork that. Like, I'm wondering, like, just like on a like more massive scale, like, do you think we're going to move past short form? Like, do you think we'll like beat this? Like, I mean, how do we get out of it? Because it is it's horrible.
I mean,
like I hate it.
Really, I think the 12-year-olds of today are like the lung cancer generation of like mental brain rot. I seriously mean that.
Yeah.
Because I think what we don't spend nearly enough time as a culture talking about is like the foundation of like an entire generation of young people is not Pixar movies and the Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and some books and, you know, then the classics that your parents watch or wanted you to watch. It's like Jeffrey Epstein memes and like P. Diddy videos with Charlie Kirk. Like, AI slop, and then it's like Nick Fuentes edits, and it's Clav, and it like that's the foundation of brains for like a generation of young people. Like, I don't know what world we live in 20 years from now as a result. What I can say, why I make the lung cancer the comparison, is like no one hated cigarettes more than the children of parents who smoked. And I even think about us, like when we have kids, I can't imagine that we would ever let our kids be on these platforms the way that they currently exist right now. And so my optimism comes from like, I would hope that we get to a better place, because it's that, or we like literally live in Wall-E.
Yeah. Well, part of me wonders like if maybe someone will come and like accelerate all of it, and it'll get to a point where it's so unbearable that we're all like, yeah, fuck this. Like, we cannot do this anymore, which I think would come from like a really specific type of like project, something like really like, I don't know, just like that turns the internet into like kind of like an even more chaotic place than it already is. I don't know. I feel like it kind of has the potential of like making us all be like, yeah, like this is like really stupid.
I mean, look, the Wall-E problem is like in a world where no one has jobs and we're getting government stimulus checks the whole time, and we have more time to consume content, and we have self-driving cars, which means we have more time to be consuming content. Like, there's a lot of things pointing the direction of like unlimited short form content being like the only thing that's being fed into our brains. I do think the one interesting thing is like, I'm finding that in most of my conversations with my friends these days, pretty quickly it comes up of like, yeah, it's a problem. Like, I got to get off, and like, I got to limit my phone time, and like, I got a brick, and or I got this app. Like, it feels like it's becoming part of the conversation a lot more than it used to. So like, that's a good sign.
Especially with like internet analysis too.
Yes.
Like, yeah, it's definitely something we're considering.
And look, and part of that is like, it feels like every generation there's a drug that like goes like eradicates, you know, a generation of people, and then we're like, oh yeah, that was bad, we're not going to do that anymore. So that's hopeful. My fear is like, what can happen until then is like, we've never had the ability ever to reach billions of people in seconds. We've never had that ability. When you think about the Stalins and the Hitlers and like the worst leaders in human history, like they lived at a time that we would find out about them months after the fact from a newspaper or a radio interview where they're talking in a language you can't understand. But think about how influential they were. And so now look at Instagram, where right now I could publish a video of me speaking English. It'll be translated into 4 of the biggest languages around the world where I'm speaking natively. They'll change my mouth so that I'm talking natively in the mother tongue of that country. Like, I really worry about how much damage could be done before we do something with these platforms. Because like, that makes me think that there's a world in which like the most influential authoritarian leader in human history can use these platforms to their advantage. And like, where is the concern about that? There's a lot of people that hated the idea of globalism, but somehow we haven't hated the idea of globalist media that reaches everybody on Earth.
But then there is also in turn like the instant commentary on it, which is interesting, because if you're thinking back about like those times where like it would reach a newspaper like 3 months later, it's like, but there's no like instant analysis of that, and like people telling you, no, you shouldn't like you shouldn't think this, you should think this, and
it coming from like all different angles.
Like
people saying like, this is what you should think, this is what you should think, and it's like every opinion that it could ever be formed about it.
But the problem is like, I think that instant analysis is what ends up hurting people on our side, because Trump's president, you know, who's had more people talking badly about him than him, but it's like, because he's bad, it's a lot easier to be evil than it is to be perfect. Because if you're perfect, everyone's going to be like, well, you're not actually perfect. Like, and then it's like, oh, you're right, I'm not actually perfect. Whereas like when you're bad, you're just like, yeah, like I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So you think that YouTube is TV and TikTok's not TV anymore?
No.
Sorry, I know you wanted to say that. I don't want to ruin your plan.
It's all TV. Like, we are all consuming all these platforms like TV.
Our lives are TV.
Everything. You guys are living a TV show. This is Girls 2.0. No, I mean, like, look.
This is Girls 2.0.
Adam Driver.
It is.
Fuck my fucking life.
I'm
Okay,
so sorry.
Sorry.
I
Really
watch
makes me
less
freak out.
TV and movies. I just do. Again, I'm way more on my phone. I'm definitely way more on YouTube. I'm consuming a lot of live content just because I'm interested in the world of live streaming.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's like all ages now. Like there might be one pocket of an age group that actually like still is consuming a lot of like Netflix and HBO, and I think that's probably like millennials. But I think like anyone older is on the internet, anyone younger is on the internet. And it's interesting. Like last night I opened Netflix for the first time in a long time because I was actually watching the Cameron Dallas show.
Oh my god.
God.
What an
from
era.
like a long time ago. Yeah.
Because I would just like he
what
was
made
the
you
most
watch
famous
that?
because he was the most famous person, and it's like you never think that someone that's that famous will ever be irrelevant, and like he's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Nice guy,
And
but
Nash
like.
Greer,
A lot
like
of
all the MagCon guys.
besides
Gone.
like Shawn Mendes.
Yeah.
And so like it's always interesting watching that stuff because you want to kind of see like what are the signs and like what does that say about our own obsession, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about Netflix in general, even I think maybe because I was watching the Wallows interview and the 13 Reasons Why mention.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
remember that 13 Reasons Why moment. Like these
Oh my God,
kids
it's
overnight
so
became
crazy.
massively famous. And there was this point before TikTok, before maybe I don't know, but there was this moment where we all were watching Netflix at a way that like there was a new show and we downloaded it into our brains.
Especially
in, like, one
during
night.
COVID, like I remember like we were like literally like on that together, like it was like live TV.
And that's why I'm like, that doesn't exist anymore. Like every now and then, like for the kids, K-pop Demon Hunters.
The Summer I Turned Pretty was kind of doing that for us.
That was kind of doing that. But I do think there is this overall nostalgia for it because I see a lot of people on TikTok specifically like now going back and watching like hour-long dramas like The OC or like One Tree Hill or whatever.
ER.
And like yearning for that. So I do think that there is a demand for that.
Yeah. I mean, someone made a good point recently. They were like, these internet platforms actually like they destroyed television and they replaced it with something worse. And now everyone's kind of realizing, hey, we want television again.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting. Like the saddest thing about this one internet wave of these internet digital video platforms is like they destroyed what was an amazing business that allowed for so many great things to be made. Now the argument against that would be like people like us would maybe never have been given a chance to make things in that old system, which I totally agree with. So it's never perfect, but I definitely can say I don't know if we're better off with like 3 tech companies owning the world. I don't know if that's a good thing.
I'm curious what you've just like learned in general from like because I know like for like creating like shows on TikTok you've like will like create like a new TikTok account and then like start a show that way, and I'm curious just like
from 0 followers.
From 0 followers, and I'm curious like about that, like specifically with a show like Boy Room for example, but also like the other shows you've done, just kind of like what you've learned about like the algorithmic media and like what makes a show like that work. Because I also think Boy Room is a really interesting example because of like Rachel Coster hosting that and her pitching it, and she had like 3,000 followers or something when she pitched that. And I think that's really interesting because you look at someone like Rachel Coster and you're like, no, you are like a star. Like, you're going to become this show. And it's interesting like what quality that is also that makes a person that.
Well, I mean star talent, star power is unexplainable. Like it's totally a gut feeling. I think it's as much of a gut feeling as it's ever been a gut feeling. And I was saying to someone recently, like I think we have a lot more famous people. We have as many stars as we've ever had. Like it's a rarity. And it's like things happened in your life that made you Ivy Wolk, a star. You know what I mean? Like you just know. I will say, I think what's interesting is like when we started making a lot of these TikTok shows, I think even I had the way that I would talk to people in the business world, whatever, about this was like very much definite. Like this is how you do it, and this is how you make these shows. And I think what I now being a little older, a few more years, realize is like it never was that like this is the thing. It's that I was watching how people and how I myself was watching things. And then I was like, oh, I wonder if I made something for people like me that watched things this way, but let me go make just like a good thing, like a good story, good pitch, good host. And then let's throw it in the form of the way that people are watching things. Like that was what was right. And so I think that's what's interesting is like now that I'm kind of moving more into long form and the live streaming world, it's because like I'm watching my own habits move again, and also a lot of other people's habits move again. And I'm wanting to evolve what that pitch looks like versus just be like, no, it's actually just this short form thing. That's it. That's the only thing. It's like, that was a thing. And, I think like the Aaron's show is a great example of like, I think that's the greatest fucking short form show in existence.
Yeah.
So like you can still do really fucking cool things, but like I don't think anyone making a Subway Takes now is ever going to be a ticket out ever again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane that it ever was like perceived as that, or maybe kind of was like in the beginning, at least like in its prime.
Well, I mean, it's funny. It's like in many ways the creator space has mirrored Hollywood, and like in Hollywood, HBO goes and does something crazy. They'll go make Game of Thrones, the most expensive show in history, and it's a sci-fi, it's a movie level quality, but it's a TV show, huge hit. And instead of any studio execs being like, well, so why did that work? Like, what else can we do that's a bold pick? They're like, we need more fantasy shows. Like, that's what it is. And the same thing with like even like the heated rivalry right now. Like no one's like, again, why did this work? It's like gay hockey show. Let's make off campus. We need more gay hockey shows. So it's funny because I just think that like same thing happened in the creator space where people just see a thing that works and they're like, I must do the thing that works to also have my own career.
I'm interested like throughout kind of your like just like history of your career, like how have you seen yourself like be perceived differently, because you grew up really wanting to be enmeshed in all of this. So like has it been interesting like watching yourself be talked about, like especially like when you were younger too, like with like dating Olivia Rodrigo, because I feel like that like got so tied to your identity, like so much of what we were looking up online was like about that, and it was just like really really funny to see also just like having met you, and then there's like this edit of like like confirming. By the way,
weird for me too.
I'm interested in that.
No one ever thinks about that. No,
and obviously in general too, not just about
when
that.
I wanted to be a fucking Disney Channel star when I was a kid. Like, that was that era, and I would like read the Disney casting sites, and like I had shots, whatever. But then again, after middle school, I never wanted to be an actor ever again. I never wanted to be on camera, and so I think what was weird about that experience was just sort of like you kind of know what you're getting into, but then you definitely don't, and like you just open Twitter one day and it's like, uh-oh, this is bad. And then also it's like, what's worse than all your friends text you being like, I'm so sorry. And it's like,
oh my God.
How bad is it? Like, I haven't seen how bad it is yet. And I think what I really wrestled with at that point was like, I really didn't want, I didn't want any of that to be public. Like all my accounts were private. I didn't want to talk about it. Like it was just a relationship. Like it was my relationship. And you know, I remember like people sleuthing and trying to find all these things. And by the way, naturally, I totally get it. Like I would too if I was that age. Like they also want to ship her with a famous person, and I'm not a famous person. Who's this person? And they're like, he's 40 and her music producer. I'm like, by the way, I'm like, I wish I was like a broke assistant answering phone calls till midnight in front of her, being like Adam Paulson's office. Like I was a fucking loser, you know. But I think what was shitty about that experience is like you have people on Twitter that are like, look at this ugly photo of him in high school. And I'm like, yeah, I was ugly and I was bullied. Like, good job. You found that out. And I just remember it was the worst part of the relationship. Like, it was the only thing that was like, yeah, I think I will never do this ever again. Because, like, why would you want to sign up for this? Which then I feel bad for people like her, because it's like anyone who dates her has to deal with that. So maybe that's where it does make sense to date another famous person, because you both know what you're signing up for. But then I remember what was nice was moving to New York. And I felt like, to be honest, like I really do feel like most of my friends that I met in New York had actually no idea. And like,
I mean, I had no idea.
That's what I'm saying. And most people, and that's what I'm saying, most people would have been like 6 months into our friendship, be like, wait, what? And they'd look it up. And I'm like, makes me so happy that like you had no idea, then that was not how you were perceiving me. I think what's different now is like 4 years into doing a lot of this digital media stuff and like being on a lot of shows and podcasts and articles, whatever. It's like, to me, it never... I felt something different happen in the last few months, which is like I've been clocking being perceived in a different way, like not in a good or bad way, just being perceived. And it's been weird. It's just weird. It's weird for someone, I'm sure you guys deal with this too, like someone being like, oh, I listened to your podcast, but it's like, huh? Because in your mind, it's kind of like you're just putting it out there for nobody.
It's like a public thing.
And like people perceive and people talk. And you know, even with Keep the Meter running, like we've been so lucky to get so much press attention on it. And so I get like a lot of messages from old friends or colleagues or whatever being like, hey, it's so cool. It's everywhere. And that's just weird because it's like, to me, it's still all made up. And I'm kind of still that 16-year-old that's just like trying to break into the industry. And I think it's the classic, like, you'll never know if you've made it. Ever. And maybe it's better that way.
Yeah, that's interesting though. Like having such like an intense urge to kind of be in this world, and then like getting that to like a crazy extent, like just by like dating someone, even though that's like not really like that's obviously not why you would date someone, but it just like happens to you.
And I think no one can prep you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also then it's like, well, I don't want to be known for that. Like that's not like I was an assistant at Annapurna Pictures. Like I was like very much pursuing my career in the industry. And it wasn't, it was only like 6 months. So like it is what it is. But I think it's funny now, like every 2 years, whatever, when there's an album coming out, and then it's like, okay, now we gotta, the Google alerts start coming back for a little bit.
I think it's funny because it's like there are like just like a few, like what we were saying about how like there's like a few stars, and like there are just like people who have those very like specific fandoms that remind me of like being on Stan Twitter and like the Taylor Swift One Direction fandoms, like how crazy we were about people that they would date, and it's like she's definitely one of those people that has
also
like,
came
like that.
out of nowhere in COVID, like literally overnight sensation, one of the biggest songs in history. Like overnight, had never done a concert before. Like that was a COVID experiment.
Yeah, that
and
is
so
crazy.
like there was heightened attention on like just any detail about her because she was so brilliant that I think people were just like, where did you come from? Like, how are you this talented of a songwriter? And so it was like a perfect recipe for disaster. But I think she's done very well not having that deal with, I don't think I think she's done a good job of having to deal with that amount of attention.
Yeah.
So how tall are you though? Because
Are you
people on the internet
I feel
really
like you
are
guys
speculating.
have to be the ones to quell that rumor. I don't know.
I saw something online. I don't know if this was fake or not. I was gonna ask, but because if it's real, where you like tweeted something and you were like, "I'm actually 6'3".
that's a real tweet.
Okay. I
I was like, no, but I'm actually.
That's a
6'3".
really good.
They were
that's
like,
a really
yeah, good one,
tweet.
buddy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna kill myself. But thank you.
Yeah.
But it's funny because anytime I meet people, this is unrelated to that though. But like, I guess on Zoom I give short energy.
No, I didn't. We met you and I was like, oh my god, I did not know you were tall.
All of us to be the same height. But, like,
Yeah.
I was not expecting you to like tower over
I don't know
us,
what
and
that
I was
is.
like-
Maybe I do think like short people have like a confidence about them and like a way they like move about town. But I'm like every time I meet
maybe
people,
just
they're like,
people were
"You're
thinking you had
tall.
that.
You're
Yeah.
tall," and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, what is happening?
Yeah.
I don't know what it
Yeah.
was about you that made me feel that way. Honestly, like maybe you're just like not pictured like head
Like
to
in
toe
your
next to other
Instagram, you
people that
see before, I
much.
think.
Could be that.
The other day in my story though, I like AI made myself like way taller than everyone. But then everyone was like, "Yeah, you're really tall in this photo." Then I'm like, no one has any idea what's going on anymore.
That's really funny. Can I guess like
Your height.
is it 5'8"? Because that's what it says on Famous Birthdays.
I think it says 5'9".
I think Famous Birthday also said I'm like 40 years old. Actually, maybe my birthday's now accurate,
Did it
but
really?
it used to be like he's
We
40.
actually saw your birthday.
Or is it
coming up.
1993?
Oh
That's
yeah,
next week.
happy early
Happy early
birthday.
Next Thursday.
Upcoming.
It's coming up.
Thank you.
You're a Taurus.
Gemini.
Oh,
Gemini.
that's
Gemini.
interesting about you.
I will say, like, I never was a big astrology person. I'm not an astrology person,
Yeah.
but so many of my best friends are Geminis, and including my mom. My mom's a Gemini.
I get along with like men who are Gemini really well. Like not, I feel like I don't know a lot of women.
I love Geminis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Geminis are great.
Yeah. Cool. Glad about
Cool.
that.
Okay, so 5'9".
Okay, I definitely wait. First of all, no, I'm literally 6'3". I don't know. They got,
Are you actually?
5'8"? How tall are you guys? You think I'm
not
5'8"?
No, I didn't say I think that you're 5'8". First of all, I said that was what was on Famous Birthdays.
No,
That's crazy.
5'9" on Famous Birthday.
Okay, yeah, but
That's
you actually
short.
are.
That is short.
Okay,
That's really
no,
short.
Shorter than like for comparison, that'd be shorter than Austin and Cash.
Can you stand up?
I
don't
can
think
stand
that's
up.
true.
I can stand up.
Well, I don't think this comparison. Is
Okay,
gonna
yeah,
help
you're
much.
six,
I'm like not- I'm
whatever.
not afraid,
You're whatever
you know?
the crap you are.
I will say, if I'm,
I believe him.
A second, it's tall enough that I'm uncomfortable. Like it sucks to
Yeah.
be on a plane or like in a row with people. This is someone trying to like go past you in a row of seats, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
hate myself.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you know.
Okay, yeah,
I've
no,
never
I
had that
believe you about your
experience.
height.
I believe
Good.
you now.
Yeah.
You stood up.
This was the first time anyone just believed me.
It's probably a good thing that we're saying this now, though, for you.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
It's probably gonna fix
I think
things.
it's
Yeah, I
on,
think- I
on
hope.
the internet. Yeah.
I hope.
We can like go and like write your entire.
Submit it as like the source in famous birthdays. Yeah.
We cleared all that up.
Yeah, no, me too.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, those kind of
If you have any other questions, like I
Okay, so was
Okay.
Get him back about you. Oh my god, please tell me. Oh my god,
no.
Really?
Which one's got him
It
back?
definitely was.
It's not.
I met a guy in
No,
the
no, no,
summer
no,
and
no,
I
no,
lo-
no, no.
But what about the
No.
I
First of
what
all,
about the
first of all,
edits?
first
What
of
about
all,
the
first
height
of all,
thing?
first of all.
Wait, can I show you this?
No.
edit?
No. First of all, I actually too much respect, I wouldn't like it. It's not. I can't. You know what I mean?
What?
Like you can't because first of all, the whole
Have you
point
seen
of
this?
it. Okay, that I have seen that, and that comes up on YouTube every.
He had an ego and a temper and a wandering eye. He said he's 6'2", and I'm like, dude, nice try. But he was so much fun, and he had such weird.
Sorry, you want me to take that out? I can.
I
texted that to Peter recently, and he was like, "Oh my god."
No, I mean, I don't think that you're supposed to talk about it. So that's
fair.
like I have a lot of respect for the art form.
Yeah.
And a lot of respect for like the process. And also, if you've ever dated a songwriter, like it's never direct. It's always like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like stolen memories of around. It's like it's all inspiration. And also they're an artist and some things are just totally made up.
There's a lot of evidence in this reel.
I can't talk about it. But it's not about me. But I can't.
Okay, cool.
I'm not gonna ever answer any other question about that at all.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you just actually told us to ask you more questions
No.
about it.
I would just I can tell that you're not done. But
Topic. Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for.
I feel like you guys were actually running the Stan accounts that were like destroying my life back
we
then,
totally
and now you're just like every question
about you the whole time, and this whole podcast
Yeah.
is actually just like it was like
it's being live streamed to Libby's HQ.
We'll think is interesting online. Why don't we just like make something, reel him in, and then maybe he'll be interested in when I come on the
like a 2-year
podcast.
plot.
Yeah, just to get to this for like your 6-month relationship with
It worked.
Olivia Rodrigo.
It worked.
And it worked.
Cool. Glad.
Okay. Well,
You're welcome, everybody. Okay, so I do also want to ask, kind of like what like the evolution was like of making Gymnasium and like just getting into like actual like production for like Boy Room and Keep the Meter Running and like all of the cool things that you've made, because I feel like a lot of people don't actually know what like the behind the scenes process really looks like.
Don't ever start a company. It's the worst, and it actually ruins your life. No, I mean, like, to me, Gymnasium was a chapter, and like that chapter is definitely over. The business is not actually over, and is very much continuing, and is kind of just going in a new direction. But like, Gymnasium was a chapter, and I was working for a different company. That's where I made Keep the Meter Running and a few of these other shows with some friends. When I left, because I had just left a startup in my head, I think half because I just left a startup and I like understood how fundraising worked, but also kind of because I needed to like get my parents off my back so they didn't were like, what is happening now? Like I had to raise some money. And so I like raised money being like, I'm going to start a company now. Now, looking back, what I would say to anyone that's watching this is like, just go make things. You don't need to make a company to go make things. And in a lot of ways, it makes the process way harder because all of a sudden you need to think on behalf of like a company versus like, I'm a person that wants to make a show. And so I think there was so much time spent the last 3 years thinking about like, well, how do you make a business on this thing that is changing so quickly? What is the business model? Like, what does it actually look like? And, you know, then finding yourself in a position where I feel like I found myself in a position last year where I hated the things I was making and felt like I was an indentured servant of the company that I had created for myself, where I was saying yes to things I didn't want to do to keep paying for this company that wasn't even paying me. And it was like, but I had to because I had this infrastructure that had to continue. And that went to a place of just like total darkness and depression of like, what the fuck am I actually, like, why am I doing this? And really what changed my life and like made me see color again was weirdly working with IShowSpeed with Peter. Because I think it was the first time that Peter and I both, Peter was coming out of the Enron experience and he has a lot of thoughts on, and it was seeing the world of live streaming, which was a world that we had been peripherally aware of, but like we didn't realize how big it was. And, you know, for anyone, like context, 35-day live stream touring the United States. He did not turn off the camera once for 35 days straight. At any given point, there's about 50,000, maybe 100, maybe 200,000 people watching live, 1 billion organic views a day in the form of clips on every single platform. And our job was basically working with our friend Ames. He was like on the bus, tour producing the entire thing. Our job was like mission control back in New York, where every single day we're helping come up with 18 hours of programming of what is the best day to live in this city that he's currently in. What are the people that we need to program it with? And what are these moments that we want to have come out of the stream? And for Speed, it's like there's not even any communication with him because he's live the entire time. So what's sick about him and where he's an actual movie star is like he's just being thrown into situations and he's the greatest vessel of entertainment for anyone that's watching. And so when he was in New York for 2 days straight, one of the only cities that he was in for 2 days, my first thought went to like Kai Cenat riot in Union Square. Like, are we all going to go to jail? So I remember 2 days before he was in New York, I'm asking the team, like, does the NYPD know what's going on? And they're like, oh, no, can you call them? That'd be great. And I'm like,
Yeah, can you just call them?
right. Okay. So then I get in touch with the assistant commissioner of the NYPD. Peter and I end up on a Zoom with like 20 NYPD officers, lieutenants, lawyers. And they basically say to us, they look through our list of ideas of what we want to do with speed. And they're like, no, you're not going to Times Square. You're not going to the Brooklyn Bridge. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. And then they're basically like, if anything goes wrong, you're all going to jail. So now I'm sitting here being like, I almost wish I didn't call them because they actually wouldn't have had any idea that we're part of this thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like they would have been in trouble, like whatever. But at that point, I'm like, okay, well now we made the call. We got to work with the NYPD. And so, testament to them, I almost think it was because no one had ever contacted them before and like let them be part of the plan. They called me at like 10:30 the night before, and they were like, "Look, we're really appreciative of like the amount of transparency you're giving us. We're gonna let you guys do whatever you want, and like wherever you want to go, as long as you give us advance notice, like we will make sure it's safe for everybody, and that there's not going to be a fucking riot. And but if we
Fucking
tell you
bipolar
you
cops.
need to go,
Sorry.
if we tell you get the fuck out, get the
Yeah.
fuck out. Like this can get out of control really quickly. And over the course of 2 days, we were working with like 200 officers navigating through the streets of New York City and going from everywhere from like a private tour of the Museum of Natural History to a boat ride to the Statue of Liberty to being in the skate park on the Lower East Side. Like we did such cool shit. And I
That's
think
such an insane
live
experience.
producing while you have a crowd of 2,000 people at any given point in real life
Yeah.
following him, it was just
Oh, and seeing that
exhilarating.
materialize is so
Exhilarating.
insane. Yeah.
And then like cool things of just seeing how the way of like how modern day clips work, where like even the morning of the second day in New York, I thought to myself, okay, he's got to go see Wall Street. That's a big part of New York, the Wall Street Bull, stock market, whatever. I'm really close with this guy, the Einstein of Wall Street, who's this like 70-something-year-old man that works in the New York Stock Exchange. He's worked there forever. And I used to make a show with him. He's such a fucking character and a really great storyteller to get young people to understand like what the stock market is. So I was like, let's teach Speed the stock market. Like, let's use this as education. And so we have him come to the Wall Street Bull. We have Einstein that's there ready to meet him. He gives him this whole pitch on like what stocks are and why it goes up, why it goes down. And Speed's like actually ingesting this information, kind of spitting it back to him in a way that the audience can understand. Great moment, moves on. All of a sudden, like in like the next day, like clip views of that moment went from like 10,000 views to 50,000 views to a million to 10 million to 50 million views.
Whoa.
And I watched that over the course of 4 weeks, Einstein, Peter Tuchman, gained 1 million followers on Instagram
my
in the course of
God.
4 weeks simply by saying yes to being a part of this thing. So it was like you just see the level of attention and power. And I'm like, there is no form of short form media that I'd ever been a part of that could have a result like that.
Yeah.
And it was only because we were making this longer form live stream thing that was ultimately clippable in a million different ways that Peter Tuchman was able to gain 1 million followers because of that attention. So I think Peter McIndoe and I left very inspired, just being like, new wave of storytelling, an area that we're now obsessed with and want to just throw a bunch of new ideas at the wall for. And like both kind of feeling we got our mojo back, like we're excited about what we do again. And so the 6 months that followed that was kind of me just figuring out like, what do I do with this company now? Because like now I just kind of hate a lot of what we're working on, and I want to just focus on making as few original projects as possible, but ones that like, if I don't make this, I'll kill myself because I want to watch this. And then occasionally doing some work with brands where, you know, we're continuing Boy Room and Girl Room this year. I love that show. I love everyone that's a part of those shows, and I want those shows to continue. But we have some other brand stuff that we're doing that's really fucking cool. And I'm like, I need to love everything I'm doing. Otherwise, what the fuck am I doing? I'll have a job again. Because like, if I made this for myself, then I must control the work that I'm doing. I have to be in control of it.
Doing like a project like that for IShowSpeed is fucking insane. Like going around all of New York with the NYPD. I know, and Peter has explained this to me before, and I just like, I don't know, like I'm interested in how you kind of like.
For anyone that doesn't
but it's
know
just like
about
a
Speed,
hard thing to like.
most of my friends were like, "Who is that person?"
Yeah.
You know, and like I get it, like different internets, different algorithms.
Yeah.
One of the most famous people on earth.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And it's hard to understand that fame until you see that, like, oh, if he stands here while the camera is on, 10 minutes later, there's 2,000 people that are here.
Yeah.
So, like, I have never myself seen a level of fame like that.
Yeah.
I think it's half that he's a movie star. I think it's half live streaming. I think it's a brand new medium, and it's people are not. There's a lot of people watching this that are probably like, I don't watch live content. But then it's like, yeah, but you definitely were a part of the clavicular conversation 2 months ago.
Yeah.
You were a part of the conversation. The culture was impacted by something having been live streamed. Whether or not you watch it live is besides the point. So that's what I think was so cool about it. But it was insane.
Yeah.
It was genuinely insane.
Wait, so then how did you guys also end up like working on that, like
so my friend Ames,
live stream?
who if you still watch Speed, like Ames is his producer now, and Ames is like in every shot with him, and has to deal with a lot more intense pressure because he's with him the entire time. Ames and I had been friends for a long time, and I remember he called me like 2 weeks before the stream actually started, being like, "Yo, I'm producing this thing. It's fucking crazy, and it's out of control, and would love your help. Please, can you help me?" And I remember just being like, no shit, sounds awesome. And second of all, I have to bring Peter into this because like I can't do this without Peter. And it was a no money, no payment, like love of the game and love of the game only. And it took over our lives for a month. I mean, we it felt like the Truman Show ending where it ends. At the end of the stream, like Peter and I were like, what do we do with ourselves now? Like, we had just watched this kid for 35 days straight. He was never not on my TV at any hour of the day. My roommate hated me. But it was just cool because it's cool working on something that a lot of people don't understand yet.
Yeah.
But you weren't with him for the full 35 days.
No.
You were just there for the New York portion.
We went to a few. Like we were with him in LA. I was in Atlanta with him. But most of the time we were just like Ed Harris, Truman Show, Mission Control, New York.
Wait, and how many days was he there?
30. He was in New York for 2 days.
Okay.
But yeah, it's cool working something that people don't understand yet. Like it's cool feeling like you're understanding like a new medium or technology. Like it was just so inspiring. And I think what's cool, and it's like now looking back, like I look at TikTok this way, like early days of YouTube this way. It's like oftentimes the leaders, the early leaders of those platforms aren't really aware themselves of like what it is that they're doing that is so successful. And it kind of takes someone who's a little bit outside who can kind of look at the bigger picture and be like, oh, this is what this is.
Yeah.
But whether or not they realize they're crushing and they're the biggest. So Speed is such a interesting historical figure in media that I think we're going to look at a lot differently like 20 years from now.
Yeah.
No, that's really interesting because I know that you had said that before about like the early days of TikTok, like how it was like a lip syncing app and everyone was kind of making fun of these kids on it. And now it's like kind of the same or comparative to live streaming now, and that'll be the thing that we'll look back on and be like, that is kind of the direction that we're headed in.
And part of it is like the kids are always right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like every generation hates what the kids are listening to. That artist becomes the artist of that generation. Like you can't stop how time works.
Yeah.
And I think there's something about the fact that like these kids are consuming so much content. They feel lonely. They see these people as their best friends. They're hanging out with these people live. I think there's a lot of maybe millennial creators that are on TikTok still are the ones that are like writing a script beforehand, cutting their videos a bunch, have the perfect subtitles, and then it's like that doesn't work anymore. And what these kids actually like is the total imperfection of zero plan and totally live content where it's nothing but mistakes. But then I know you and trust you because there's no script, even though a lot of live streamers are totally full of shit and writing half their shit. But I understand where the thinking comes from. And so I see the way that it's clipped across all these platforms. And it, again, feels so dumb now after this experience to think about how do I make the clip versus how do I make the thing that is clippable. And I think that was like the total 180 that happened to me. By the way,
Sorry,
what's cool about it is the same about long form and like actual long form. Like this is clippable.
Yeah.
There are moments that are going to come out of these interviews 20 years from now because of the fact that it's a long form thing that people can do things with. And I think like that is a weird new difference of like new media is it's like, it's about making the source material that people like remix into edits and remix into clips and can be used for context to understand something else happening in culture. Like it is the modern day quote from a book is like a clip from a long form or live streamed thing.
What I was going to ask here, I just remembered, does it like scare you at all in a similar way of like live stream fandom kind of like evolving into a similar thing that like is going on with like reels and like the way it kind of like makes us feel really depressed. And it's like, well, in turn, like, okay, yeah, the short form thing that's like really like making us all crazy and like kind of like stealing our minds and like making children stupider. But then it's like, wait, okay, this long form thing that someone will watch 24 hours of their day, and also like the amount of power it has. Like, this is also what I was trying to verbalize earlier, like the fandom power of like you featuring just this one guy on a stream and then he has 1 million followers now. Like, how do you even like, I don't know, how do you protect people against that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I wrestle with this a lot. I think to answer one of the questions, I think it gets way worse with live streaming. I think like this is a way darker path.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have, again, like Donald Trump is a reality television star. Reality television is a fairly new medium. We, of course, will have live streamers be president. My take at the beginning of this year it's way less interesting now because it's way more serious, is Jake Paul is 100% on the path to becoming our president. Not a joke. And then Trump endorsed him in February. So like that take became less interesting because it was like, oh, they already are talking about it.
If that happens like for internet kids, like we will like.
But why wouldn't he?
Like,
Yeah.
that is like
What was
genuinely like
what was Donald Trump to
so ridiculous.
Donald Trump was a bombastic figure of wealth that for many poor people represented the American dream.
Yeah.
Like your name on a building one day.
No,
and he was like
and
the person that you'd like watch like all TV. Like if you watch like, a little Sex in the City episode and they're like joking about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Home Alone 2 comes to New York, runs into
Yes.
Donald Trump. The Apprentice,
Yeah.
#1 show on network television.
Yeah.
Like there's none of that doesn't represent what Jake Paul is today to most people in this country.
I'm not saying it's like it's totally realistic, but it's just like imagine that happening to us when we're adults and like.
But think of how people look at Ronald Reagan that grew up with him as an
Yeah.
actor. Like it's just different to us because it's the first one that we grew up with.
Yeah, but it's also interesting because it's like within this different structure of like the internet, and like we were watching as like the it's everyday bro fucking bullshit was like taking control of the internet and taking control of like our lives, and that was like you would go into school and like that's what they were like joking about, and it's like watching that culture then materialize into politics would be crazy.
Well, and that's where I think we as a society talk about like the attention economy incorrectly, because I think a lot of people think of it as like, yeah, attention economy means a creator, starts building a team and has brand deals. That's the attention economy. And I'm like, no, I actually think the attention economy is that the two most powerful people on earth, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, are very good at getting our attention. I think Elon Musk has an inflated stock price. Is going to be the first trillionaire in our country's history because he's good at getting our attention. He bought Twitter at a loss because he wanted to keep holding on to our attention. Donald Trump is the most clippable person on earth, not even being a live streamer. He's a master of our attention.
Yeah.
So I think that's the attention economy. And that's what I get scared of is like, it's going to both get a lot harder for people to get attention. So the people that already have it are going to continue to kind of hold on to a lot of it. Doesn't like look at the Cameron Dallas thing. It's not always forever.
Yeah.
But, there's a reason why Mr. Beast is buying a banking app, like, and a phone plan. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, no, I have your attention, and now I'm going to sell you more things from it because, like, that's going to be the new brand. JP Morgan Chase doesn't have as much of your attention as Mr. Beast does. What does that mean 20 years from now? Like, they're going to be a lot more concerned about the fact that, like, their brand doesn't mean that much to a 15-year-old today. So that's, like, a weird thing of where we're going.
Yeah.
I think what I wrestle with a lot is, like, if you read a lot of, like, Neil Postman, he's someone who really thinks that 60 Minutes and Sesame Street were worse for culture than bad television. Because his argument is that 60 Minutes didn't teach you the news, it taught you to love television. And Sesame Street didn't teach you whatever they were teaching you, it taught you to love television. Kids didn't love TV the way that they did after Sesame Street than before. And so, like, I wrestle with that a lot because I'm someone who thinks I have these, like, dueling opinions of, like, we live in a society that's been shaped by the media that exists on the internet that's free to watch. I think that one of the easiest ways to like combat that is by being in the places where people are. On the contrary, making good things on these platforms does make you be on these platforms more. These platforms will never be the answer. Everything, like the world we live in is because we're on these platforms.
Yeah.
So I wrestle with all of this. I will say that like I'm still very much on the tune of like, while we have these platforms, like one, I'm spending a lot of time trying to figure out what can I myself do to voice concerns I have with the way that young people use these platforms that tech companies are aware of, that parents most likely are not. But in the meantime, I do want to make programming that speaks to these young people that can be helpful. Like the first live show that I'm launching is going to launch in about a month, and it's called 877 Unemployed, and it's for young people dealing with unemployment, and it's hosted by an older, retired, very successful man who really cares about young people. It's his passion in life, and it's co-hosted by this girl, Rachel Braun, who's brilliant and like 27 years old, and it's going to be a show made for unemployed people. I'm shocked that no one cares to speak to unemployed people. And it feels like we have so many of these business podcasts that are like how to make your first $1 billion and like it's like cool, but what about me? 'Cause my life sucks right now. And those are the people right now that might be, you know, attracted to someone who says it's someone else's fault. And that's not that. I want to have a place where they can at least find each other and have a supportive community of like, let's have this conversation. Because again, I think if we can have an audience that's like that, it becomes a lot clearer to people how bad the problem is. And the problem is really fucking bad. And it's only going to get worse with AI. So like, if we can house that conversation under one roof, but also give people a live community to be part of that, like at 10 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they can tune in and like not feel like the loneliest person on earth. I think that that's a short-term victory while we try to figure out what can we do to like systematically destroy algorithmic media.
Wait, is this going to be on like YouTube or like?
It'll probably be on Twitch and then like clips everywhere.
Okay,
Is it like
nice.
it's like an advice show kind of? Like,
Yeah, there'll be like a literal call-in show. So it's a real hotline,
Okay.
1-877 unemployed. It's a real phone number, and it'll be a little bit of news about like job, economic reports, data, you know, layoff news, whatever.
Okay, make
but
the joke about me calling in.
Oh yeah, Brittany will call
I was waiting for the joke, but then these people are going to be able to call in and just get genuine, real world advice about their situation, about like how they can, you know, skip the 200 resumes on LinkedIn that no one's paid attention to, and instead like make a list of 30 local businesses that you can go to and talk to about like what it is that you can do for them. And it's an inspiring show to work on, because I'm just like, that's what I want to be doing. Like, things that can actually be useful and helpful and tools, and like, let's have the conversation that everyone's uncomfortable to have.
Is that kind of like I guess like a micro thing of like what you want to do, like more broadly going into like this next chapter of kind of your career?
100%. Like I think there will for sure be things that are also just entertainment. I think like making someone laugh is still making their lives better. But we're doing that show in partnership with a nonprofit. I want to do a lot more work with nonprofits. I really want to figure out what does the future of public media look like in a world where PBS is not only defunded, but like much of that content is not being consumed by the people that it's being made for. And if you like look at their history, it came up in a time where the government said we can't trust brands and networks to create what is good for the American people. Let's create PBS that can talk about our history and news and entertainment in a way that like we know is good for people. We need to have that conversation again, because we have a lot more new televisions that there's nothing but a lot of slop on. And I don't believe that brands are going to be the way that we can make the good things. So I've been spending a lot of time in the nonprofit world, kind of just talking to a lot of these foundations and family offices about like, again, what would it look like to be able to make shows that keep the meter running, that like on paper don't necessarily have a place for a brand. Maybe now it does because we have an audience, but like, what about before that? And I would love to spend a lot of my time being able to like work on things that don't have a place for a sponsor, and it's much more like this is for the public good than it is just like, oh yeah, we put a brand into it.
No, that's awesome.
Do you have like a specific project that like is like a dream project of yours to work on, or like to
there's one in the fall that I'm not going to talk about, but there's definitely another one in the fall that's like dream project. But in so many ways,
something that's going to come out eventually. But
in so many ways, keep the meter running is that project. Like this show it's just amazing. Like I love making the show, and it's so cool to make a show that is such a human conversation at a time that like we're so missing humanity. In that it's with cab drivers at a time that like that almost is a dying job. Maybe is going to be a dying job, but like then maybe is this an archive of these stories of these people that. And I think what's interesting with this season in particular, all being in New York, it's like there's so many of these older drivers who you hear moved to America for the American dream. And it's not to say there's not more people moving to America right now, but I would say very few people are probably moving to this country for the American dream. but the way they talk about it, like, it was a clear idea at that point of like, you just move to America, American dream, you're going to make it, and it's all going to be good. And it's been fascinating. I mean, some of these guys, by the way, are MAGA, are Trumpers, but like, I love the way that it gets brushed off, and then it's like, but we're still just hanging out and can talk to each other. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
And I've seen every episode now like 100 times, and there's one episode in particular that's my favorite of the season, which is that we did an episode with this driver, Mark, who's 72 years old. He used to be a junkie. He moved here as a heroin addict, but got clean in his 30s. Now he's a counselor. But we did the night shift with him because he drives at night till like 6 a.m. And so Kareem gets in the front of the seat, and we just pick people up all night long. And so it's very much taxi cab confessions. Like, it's real conversations.
Whoa,
from
I'm
people in the
so
back of the
excited
cab.
to see that.
I've seen it 100 times, and it's like, it makes me love New York. This is the greatest fucking city on earth.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way to watch it and not just be like, I'm in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
But it's such a gift to be able to work on this show, and I am very excited because I think in the future we really want to take the show on the road and travel the world, but like always tell the stories of these cities through the perspective of these cab drivers.
Yeah. It's such an interesting like concept to me, because immediately when I started watching it, I was like thinking about like, I feel like taking Uber in like Philly was so different than taking Uber in New York. Like, there were a lot more like conversations, and I remember just meeting these random like drivers who like then would make me think a lot about just like their lives and my life like in comparison, and like what got them like driving and stuff. And like I remember there was like one Uber drive one time where a guy was like about to go to a wedding, and he was like, you should go to a wedding, and it was just like an interesting conversation, like, because like you get like, I don't know, just from like something really simple like that, you like really can like gauge someone's personality. And I feel like I don't get that at all in New York. Like, people aren't really talkative in the Ubers. And it's interesting because it like then in turn, I often forget like that I'm interfacing with a life. And I think a lot of people are probably even less considerate than that about it, because I've like been in Ubers with friends who are like, they're really interesting. People are crazy to Uber drivers in New York.
Like, I remember I like know exactly what you're talking about. One of the first nights that we were here, we like went to this like party, and these like guys got in an Uber, and they were just being like insane, like asking them to like change the music or
louder,
like or like connecting to Bluetooth.
Can we fit 8 people in the car?
It was crazy. And I feel like I've just never had that experience before, like in a city like Philly. And I think what you're saying about taking it on the road in other cities is really interesting, because even just like being in like the Midwest, for example, like when I would get into like an Uber in Wisconsin or something, the experience was so different and so interesting.
And I mean, it's also changed my life in the way that like I can't obviously be in an Uber or a taxi now without talking the entire time. 'Cause you're just sort of like, well, I gotta live what I preach.
But
it's fascinating. I mean, I love it in city. I feel like I always ended up talking to drivers because I wanted to see how they felt the city be changing. Like even the other night I was in a cab, and it was like it was this past Thursday, and it was like 1 a.m. There just really weren't that many people out, and it was a nice night. And it's like, okay, Memorial Day weekend, people were out of town. Okay, it was a Knicks game. Maybe people were watching the game, or they just got home from the game. But it was empty. And I'm just like, it's kind of scary to start seeing the like lack of nightlife even in New York City, which is like, you would think it's like one of the last places that keeps it. But I think a lot of this still goes back to technology. And so it was interesting. My driver's been driving in New York for 35 years, and I was asking his perspective, and he was just like, 1, drinks expensive, people not going out as much. 2, like they're on their phones. And it's just, I don't know, it's these people they're wise. They've been here. They're seen
like
it
the
all.
Fathers of our city.
Exactly. So it's just like, it's so much more interesting to be talking to them than like whatever the fuck is on your phone.
Yeah, no, and I also think it preserves like a certain type of like, it like really goes back to like, I think what a lot of young people probably forget about New York, which is like just like the rich like diversity, because I feel like a lot of us like, I don't know, like just like if you look at like the scene of people who we know, it's like, well, everyone's kind of isolated in this specific scene a little bit, and like you kind of forget that this is just the place where everything is, and that show really embodies that, which I think is beautiful.
I love the show.
I
love that I'm
so
so happy you guys watched it.
It's awesome.
I am addicted to making it now. I just want to make so many more episodes of the show.
Do you have maybe as a final question, do you have a like interesting like like pre-making Keep the Meter Running, is there like anything interesting that kind of like happened to you in like an Uber or like a cab or anything that like a story like that like
That's a great question.
maybe like, I don't know, made you want to make the show more? Or like, I know it's like also Kareem, but like,
I mean, honestly, part of it is just having made the show, like the short form show.
Yeah.
Like I remember the first episode we ever made was this with this driver Abdur, and it was after like 8 cabbies saying no because like we have cameras, they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I remember he took us to this Pakistani spot, and food was amazing. Had this amazing conversation, and like we're walking back to the cab from the restaurant, and Kareem says something to him that he misunderstands, and he responds, "I love you," and Kareem's like, "What?" He's like, "I love you, and then Kareem's like, "I love you," and
aw.
you just sit there and you're like, if we decided not to make this show today, this interaction with this person would never have happened.
Yeah.
We don't know what amount of light this brought into this person's life, and now we're sharing that light with everybody else. And a year later, that driver got in a really bad car accident, and I could tell he had so much pride in that he did not want to ask for help, but I knew things were really bad because he did ask for help. And Kareem and I went to his apartment, and we like heard what happened, heard the story, and we ended up making like a TikTok about it to launch a GoFundMe. And because of how amazing the audience of the show is, like we ended up raising like $30,000 for this guy. And I'm again just sitting here like on a life level of everything's meant to happen, or like you're meant to just keep going in that path. Like, had he not been the 9th person to drive by us, had we not wanted to make the show, had we not posted it and had an audience, like what would have happened if he got in that accident and had no way of, I mean, he's in his 70s. Like, he's not someone who's like gotta go get another job. And so I just think that I've always just had such a love for making the show, because it just feels like it's rare that you get to work on something that's about humanity. And I just think that there's so little of that right now.
Yeah.
No, that's so cool. And that is just like, a crazy story of how everything was so synchronous with the show.
Yeah, it's a service to us all that you're making this. Thank you for making it.
Everyone's got to go watch it. I mean, the one thing I'll say is it's really interesting switching to long form for short form. It's just like on TikTok and Instagram, you're very used to getting views immediately. Like 24, 48 hours. Like, if it's viral, it's viral. And long form is like so not that. And so I think there was this expectation a little bit of like maybe really quickly get like 1 million views on YouTube. It's like we're at like 60,000 for the pilot, and then like 30,000 for each of the next 2 episodes,
which is great,
which is amazing for long form. But again, I think it's just like it's taking all of us a little bit getting used to it. You have to work for it. And
Kareem's used to his damn Subway takes fucking likes, like.
but then you read the comments, and you're just sort of like, at some point, millions of people are going to find the show, and they're going to love it. And again, it goes back to that, like that first time in my life now that I feel pride in having made this thing versus like where it is charting. But I think that also then leads to this confidence of like, I have been individually texting my friends who I know have not seen it yet. I'm bad at watching things too. So there's no like judgment. And I'm like, I want you to watch it. I want you to watch it because I want to know what you think of it. But I also think you're going to like it. And like,
it's funny, like it being hard to get people to watch too.
I know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I actually think there's a little bit of a gift right now that we haven't been given this audience by an algorithm. Like, I think that we're meant to just get fan by fan by fan, and that will lead to a much stronger long-term relationship with our audience long-term.
Yeah, well, because the engagement has already just been so good, because it is people who are just like coming to the show themselves, or like through a recommendation or whatever, but it's not based on the algorithm.
Exactly.
Yeah. I also do think that like Kareem being like the figurehead of the show is interesting, because I feel like some people probably view him as like kind of sceney. And so it's interesting seeing him kind of in this like very like, I don't know, just like wholesome show. And
I think that's what it speaks to his character. It's like he has the thing that everyone wants, which is like a show that every celebrity wants to go on. And so to have that and then be like, oh, the thing that I want to go make long form is the show where I was talking to cabbies. That speaks to a lot of his character. And I can tell you, like, there's friends of ours that work in this short form media world who I love, and I laugh at them, but it's in they're friends. I can tell you, like, some of these friends have reached out being like, you got to just add a celebrity to every episode. Like, that's it. And I'm just like, you don't get it. That's not what this is.
Yeah.
And also, I want to prove to people that you don't need that. Like,
Yeah.
no one wants that right now. Everyone's fucking struggling. I don't think what they need is like another celebrity slop thing that like some publicist is going to tell the actor what to repeat on the show to like for them to seem relatable. It's like, I think it's so much more powerful, and these people are way more interesting than any fucking celebrity we could ever have in the show.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think about that with like errands because like Noah was kind of like given an opportunity to like do that and like have like and then he was like, no, I'm not doing that, which I think is really interesting. Like, because I feel like for us, that's like a totally different thing. It's like, yeah, we want to sit on the floor.
By the way, please come on the show.
Yeah, please come on the
Please
floor.
come on the show. Yeah.
But like, I feel like it's like a different thing because it's like, oh, like with short form, like if you start just putting celebrities in the show, it becomes slop really quickly.
Yeah.
But then like something like this is just like a different thing because it's like, no, we're like kind of taking people down a level, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know, it's interesting like how that can like change a project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you so much
thanks
for
for
coming
Thank
on
you
the
for having
podcast.
me.
This was
This
so
was
fun.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Amazing questions.
Thanks for clearing up.
And thanks for,
thanks for clearing
you know,
everything up
I'm
for
happy
us.
I could clear it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're glad that we know your height now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is such a lovely episode.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Really
You're
fun. I'm so excited for it to come
a
out.
crazy
I am too.
speaker. Like, I feel like I
Yeah.
had like I started forgetting my questions as you were talking because I was like, I feel like I'm listening to the podcast
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now, like in a way that I have not felt
Wow.
before.
Yeah.
That's an honor.
So yeah, congrats on that too.
Are you guys not doing the Josh Avaye thing anymore? How do you spell his last name? Avaye?
Yeah, we stopped doing it.
after
Did he say something?
He followed us on Instagram.
Then you did the billboard.
Yes, we did the billboard.
Didn't
Our
acknowledge
Great
the
video, by the way.
billboard.
Cinematic.
Thank you.
Thank
Actually, I'm
you.
not even joking.
Thank you.
Movie.
Oh my god.
M&M store, movie.
Fucking
Thank you.
thank you
Art.
so much.
Thank you.
Art.
We stopped doing it because we know that he knows about it, and I think that we maybe just need to like meet him in person
We need to let it go.
convince
It's like a
him.
cat. Like you don't like if you
Yes.
tell a cat to come, like the
Yeah.
cat's not gonna
Yeah,
come.
I
but you
think
gotta-
we've done as much as we can do for now, and we need to let go, see what
Yeah.
happens,
Yeah.
and then go from there.
Yeah, I think we stopped it after we had his ex on.
Yes, which
Who
was
did
our
he-
100th episode.
Who was his ex?
Contra Chloe.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were our 100th episode, and so then like we were like, okay, this is actually the perfect reason to be like, well,
stop.
we're not going to do it this episode, so we're not going to do it after.
But you did it
this.
for 100 episodes?
We brought it up and talked about it in the episode, but yes.
Wow.
Yes, we
Yeah.
did for 100
Wow.
episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's dedication.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah. Did you want to do it? Is that why you brought it up?
No, I just
you
was
wanna
curious.
do
It
it,
did
like-
stop at one point. I was curious when it
we're
stopped.
curious
Yeah, if you
about
wanted
it.
to, like, you totally can.
No, I think this is a good. I think you guys have moved on from it. It's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
we kind
healthy.
of rebranded, but we
rebranded.
still like. I still have like such a good idea for like if we can ever get him. Like, I
Yeah.
really want to like make a documentary style video that's like
Yeah.
the like before of
Finding
us like.
Like the
Francis.
2.5 years of like us trying to get him on, or however
Yeah.
long it's been, and like 'cause we've
interviewing
had
people.
so close to him,
Of course.
on and like all those.
Like I want to
clips.
do like a fake like docu style like sitting people down in a chair and like people who have been
Yeah,
guests and being
Yeah,
like,
being like-
I just didn't think they were gonna be able to do it and
Or
like
I
saying
always
shit like
knew
that.
That's the
I could do
trailer.
it, like I'm so proud of them.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's also like a dog like barking at a mail truck that like, will you know what to do with him if he's here?
Yes,
yes,
absolutely.
Oh, you will.
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
absolutely. I feel like I know what to ask him.
Okay.
I feel like there's a like group of 5 people. I'll tell you right now, and one of them will be funny to you. I think because there's a group of like 5
know who
people
you're
who I
gonna
like
say.
know exactly what the
Yeah.
fuck to do if I ever can interview them. It's Josh Ovalle, Emma Chamberlain,
I wonder what the fifth one's gonna be.
Ariana
Ariana
Grande, Camila Cabello,
Yeah.
Tana Mongeau.
Oh, that's actually not what I thought you were gonna say.
Do you think you're gonna say
did you think
Olivia?
I
Yeah,
said
they're gonna say Olivia.
Not Olivia. I mean, I
I
think
would
we
love to
do.
have
Tana's
her on.
a
Don't get
easy
me
one.
wrong. She's not.
She,
What do you mean?
She won't come
She's-
on.
Like she told you no,
Well,
or
no, she's just
just
hard to
impossible
get.
in contact with.
I mean, me and Tana are very good friends.
You want to get it right?
I would no, I 100%.
No, because
Brittany
that's
used to
why
run a Tana
I used to
stand.
run a Tana
No way. Okay, well I did hear some because I think when you were talking to Ivy, you guys were talking about Tana.
Yeah. I used to run a Tana Stan account where I was actually in her big group chat that she used to like talk to every day.
Wow.
When I was like, she was like 2 years. I think she's like 2 years
like
older
2
than me.
years older, yeah.
And like at the time, obviously that seemed like way more as in high school. But I was like 16 or something.
Yeah.
it was funny,
I mean, Tana's the best, and
Yeah.
she would love you guys.
dude.
Yeah, well,
I-
she like knows because I remember like we went to like this like meet and greet thing, and she like remembered Brittany. It was like a crazy thing. She like started crying.
Yeah.
You started crying or Tana started crying?
Tana started crying
is
because Brittany
happening?
used to be like a huge fan. Like she
Oh,
would, like,
wow.
Yeah, it was
go,
like a
to
crazy
the-
thing, and now it's like now we're
And then
just
she was
people
like,
in
"Oh
the
my god!"
world.
Like she like remembered that, and like the security guards were getting mad because we were on stage for too long because Tana
Wow.
just like kept talking to Brittany.
Well, I know Tana because she dated my friend Goody Grace.
Okay, wait. This is something I
Okay,
forgot
yes.
to fucking
Wait, we
bring up.
forgot to
is-
bring this
okay,
up.
I saw that you directed a Goody Grace video, and I
One
was
of my
like,
best friends on earth.
and I was like, oh my
He
god,
was
because
such like a guy like in that like Tumblr era of
Yeah.
music, like early Instagram.
he like I don't even know why. Like I was obsessed with like. Do you know the song April, like the
Yeah, of
unreleased
course,
one?
of
Well,
course.
it was released, but it's
Yeah.
now de-released.
Goody and I lived together for 3
Do you
years.
know the
We have
song
matching
Vanilla
tattoos.
Coke?
Yeah.
So
Okay,
good.
well,
Yeah.
isn't that like the big one?
Is it the big one?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't like a huge
April
stan.
was like literally
April's an
like
amazing song.
such a crazy song for
There's
me.
a lot of
in
people
my
like
life.
on Twitter too that are always like April. You know what I mean? They're always like bringing it up.
Yeah, yeah, because why did he de-release it?
We gotta ask him.
Okay. Cool. We'll ask him.
But no, that's how I know. That's how I know Tana.
Okay.
And stayed friends ever since. But Goody's been one of my best friends for 10 years.
Well-
Also, Brooke, I used to be really close with too.
Okay, yeah. I don't really know much about Brooke. I feel like I stopped like really watching Tana like I think in the canceled era,
Canceled era.
or like before that. I was like once I got to college, it was kind of like okay. I do just think she's a great person. Like
is.
I
I
could
think
feel
so,
that. That was
too.
why I was such a fan of her, and the way that she engaged with her fans was so insane. Like it was an insane fandom, and I was at the very beginning of it because I feel like I was in like I want to like stand someone who's gonna give me attention,
Right.
And I chose her, and because my friend had started watching her, and I was like, oh, I want to hop on this, and it was so early in the fandom. Like I made my account, she followed me the first day I had it,
Wow.
and then like she started engaging with me like every single day, and like
Wow.
we had this group chat called BleedyCon that was like this famous YouTube like stan group chat.
Wow.
And I would love to talk to her about all this because I think it'd be so interesting
It
to like
would be.
reflect
For
on.
her too, by the way.
Like
Yeah.
everything that she did for YouTube.
Oh my
I
God,
feel like
she-
really changed.
as a
Like, her
woman-
and, like
Yeah.
Emma Chamberlain.
Yes,
Like
like-
the early ones are like Jenna Marbles and like Grace Halberg and like those people. But then I think Tana, because I remember like watching her videos because I also like I was never like a stan of her like on Twitter, but I watched her videos back when she got like 10,000 subscribers. Like I remember her making her video and being like, "Thanks for 10,000 subscribers," and like her rant videos and her storytime videos were so impactful to just the whole culture of girls on YouTube and like
Yeah.
what a girl on YouTube could be.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so crazy.
And also TanaCon. I mean, there was a
Oh
lot
my
of
God.
first of.
She's lived
And
so
the whole
much.
Jake Paul
TanaCon
shit.
is
I mean,
The Jake Paul shit.
Crazy.
She's lived a lot of lives.
Yeah,
Different
TanaCon was
era.
the year after I went to VidCon as a fan, and so all of
Yeah.
my friends were there who like lived in LA, and I was so sad that my mom wouldn't let me go.
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck, I need to be at fucking TanaCon," because like the whole thing, everyone was like freaking out because Shane Dawson was a featured creator, and he
Right.
like like refused to do like featured creator on VidCon
Yeah.
for whatever
Wow.
reason, and like never did that stuff, and so it was like this huge deal. And I remember like my friends promised to get me a video of him saying hi to me, and it was like.
Did
Wow.
you get a video?
No, because
Oh.
TanaCon
Oh,
didn't
because
fucking
it
happen.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Like it got canceled after the first
Yeah.
like 3 hours, but she did take all my
and
friends
why? Just because
in the
two
back
people
room.
showed up, right? Or
It was,
Yeah,
like,
the
really
planning
hot
was just.
outside.
Have you seen the Shane Dawson doc?
I
about
remember.
it?
I just remember like it was a big cancellation.
It was a big
Yeah,
cancellation.
yeah, and everyone was like, "Fuck Tana," and we were all like, "Oh, now we have to defend Tana again."
Yeah.
We were always having to defend that girl.
That's crazy to think how young she was at that point. But she
No,
was
I
always very
know.
adult.
She was very adult.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
ahead of her
Young.
time and ahead of her years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she grew up in Vegas. I feel like that was kind of
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
Because how old is
Vegas
she now?
teenagers. She's like a couple years older than us, so I think she's probably
2
like
or 3 years
20 Is she
older?
not- you're right. I feel like
I'm 28.
Yeah,
okay,
so
she
I'm
might be like
guessing-
27,
Okay.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah.
Very young.
Because also to me, when I was like a fan of her, like I thought she was so much older than she was.
Yes.
Like
Well,
to me,
yeah.
like someone turning like 18 was like crazy.
Yeah.
So it was just a funny dynamic also of like, oh, like she had this like group chat of fans, and we were all just like only a couple years younger than
Yeah.
her, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, it was such an interesting time for the internet too.
But I think, I mean, so much that still exists on Discord, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Speed, I saw it. Like,
Yeah.
he's very good at talking to his audience. And, like, he'll look at the camera when it's live and he's like, I love you, Chad. You know? And I'm just sort of like,
And he is
if
talking
you're
to you.
12, like,
Yeah.
no shit you're obsessed with this person.
Yeah.
No one else is talking to you.
Yeah,
No
well,
one
I
else says,
was
love
I was
you."
thinking about that at like the Boy Throb concert when like the way that they were talking. You weren't
I didn't
there.
go.
It was interesting seeing them talk to the audience because it was like, oh, I see you doing this structure that I like was so enmeshed in when I was younger, and like the way that they were like taking the phones out of the crowd and like recording themselves on fans' phones and stuff, and like being like, I love you. Like I like was thinking about that, and I was like, that impacted me as a child. And I really like, it was like a very special thing if they touch your hand in the audience, like, which is like funny because like I can remember the thought process of it really, like it really did mean something, like in a way that I don't even know how to put into words. Like it wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm like getting like noticed. It was like, oh my god, like I have the chance to know him, like, you know, which is so funny. Yeah,
we gotta get Tana on.
We gotta get Tana on.
You gotta help us, dude.
I will. I literally will help.
Thank you so much.
I'll send whatever part of this we include, and then
okay, perfect.
You.
Perfect, great.